everybody. This is 372 pages we'll never get back. I am Connor Listoka. This is the Bad Book Club podcast where me and Mike Nelson are going to read through a book with all of you out there. A book we do not expect to like. And Mike, this is what we do not expect to like because we and everyone out there has read books by this guy before. Dan Brown.
Dan Brown, a man who sells his books by the metric ton at Costco. Is that what you reported to me yesterday?
I went to Costco earlier this week. I was unaware that Dan Brown has a book out now. He released a brand new book last week, The Secret of Secrets. And at Costco, they had him by the pallet like they do the tub of cheese balls. And the one that I saw looked like people had come in during the Christmas rush and gotten the, Labubu's off of the truck and just left it torn and picked over. They probably trampled a Costco employee to get to them. There was Secret of Secrets books scattered all over the Costco jeans and the 3-pound tub of peaches and syrup. So
there's a half-empty bottle of that Costco vodka next to the bin. Someone obviously just like, let's get at this.
Yeah, let's read this thing here in the store and pound down this booze while we do it. So I guess he's still raking it in from people who can't get enough. It's the 6th book in the series covering Robert Langdon. And hey, maybe if we were a little more optimized in our business acumen, we might have picked that book, But we didn't. There's Dan at your door right now.
Dan is right here. He's here right now.
He heard you disparaging him and has come to...
He said, hey, we did Secret of Secrets. What should I do next? I don't know, Code of Codes? Thanks. I gotta go.
Yeah, so he is still, I guess, probably going to be on the top of the bestsellers charts for months and months until Coho, who just also announced a new book, comes out with her next one. So I think that's... These two can duke it out for us. But we are reading Deception Point. Yeah, you said Code of Codes, and I'm like, what is it now? Like, is it...
Secret of something? I don't know.
Yeah, it's Fallback Guy. But this is Dan Brown's, I don't know if it's his 3rd book. I think he wrote Digital Fortress, which is the one that we covered, which is why everyone here knows it. And then he wrote Angels and Demons, which was the Da Vinci Code start of that guy's series, Robert Langdon. Mm-hmm. And then I think he wrote Deception Point, which came out at the end of 2000. So right on the cusp of being an author that everyone knew, everyone had read, but this is sort of his last gasp of obscurity. It's his Nirvana's Bleach right before they hit the big time.
This was his wife, shuffling through bills going, you sure this is the way? No, honestly. I just have to write a character who's Harrison Ford and Harris Tweed, and we're set for life. It's too bad he didn't make him Robert Redford in Harris Tweed, but
yeah.
I'm a fan. I'm not making any fun. I love the guy.
As his wife is paying the bills and threatening to walk out, he notices how long her legs are as they're walking around, and he's like,
Gorgeous or a troll? What did you say, honey? Nothing. Oh, keep walking, man. Dear.
So the things that we took away from our last Dan Brown book were obviously the quick chapters. They're as paced as quickly as an old Batman serial like we've covered at Riff Tracks. We have our, like you said, the stunningly 12 out of 10 women, or we have just people who live under bridges and subsist off of licking the cans of Dinty Moore for sustenance, and their eyes glisten, and they're naked mole rats essentially. So it's either that or the supermodels.
Yeah. What was the hideous woman in the lipstick smeared?
Yeah, she was a secretary, I think. Just. But it was either that or Susan Fletcher, who was just Jessica Rabbit. Gorgeous. With 3 PhDs from Harvard, essentially.
Actually, speaking of Jessica Rabbit, in this book, someone's eyes actually do pop out almost. So.
Eyes get a lot of attention in this book.
They get a lot of play in this one. I guess he looks around and he sees what he sees. Actually, he probably does some research because there's a bunch, where suddenly you get like helicopter names. You're like, is that a thing? Like, yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, you get the facts lobbed at you that Wikipedia probably was just in its infancy there. There was just 3 articles on Wikipedia, and 2 of them were about classic 80s video games because Ernest Cline had discovered it. But you get things that could just be copied and pasted from that, interspersed with the quick dialogue. Lots of people laughing at things that aren't funny. We've got a lot to cover.
We do have a lot to cover. We decided to do these. This is a long book because I think he writes on one spool of paper is the legend, that he just keeps typing and typing and he doesn't stop. He doesn't have to rip out the paper. He just keeps going, man. No, I don't know if that's true, but it seems like he does. So this is a long book, so we're kind of doubling up on our readings and doing half the notes just to make this, come in at the correct length.
It is 142,000 words, which is not the longest book we've covered on here, but yeah. So we usually go chapter by chapter. It might be easiest to just sort of keep going, and we won't necessarily call attention to every single chapter we skip through here, because there are 31 to cover this time, but some of them are essentially the length of a fortune cookie fortune. So
some of them, I actually have a few chapters with no notes. How do you like that?
Yeah, sometimes he just sort of advances it, or he sets up the next thing that's about to happen. He also likes to parcel things out and take their sweet damn time.
Boy, oh boy, was that. Towards the end, I have a note about that. Holy cow. All right.
But let's get started. It starts with a quote from Bill Clinton about some sort of scientific discovery. ALH 84001, which was I guess a meteor that back in the 90s they thought might have the secret to extraterrestrial life, and it turns out it did not. But it sets the stage for what's to come in this book, I guess.
And so then we get a prologue, as if we didn't have enough to read already. The only thing I took away from this prologue, which is, Dan Brown, like someone, a helicopter lands in front of him. Him being Dr. Brophy, which put me immediately in mind of, I've told you, there's I think she still plays, I don't think she's retired, a female tennis player named Samantha Stosur. And her last name is obviously just sounds like she could go right to the frat and people would be like, Stosur! And Brophy is obviously just made up by one of his brothers.
Yes. Hand to God, I wrote that Brophy sounds like the chubby pledge in a frat movie, being like, oh, Brophy, come on.
Brophy.
You call that flip cup Brophy?
Effing Brophy. I'm sorry, guys.
And then he shows up. Brophy's dating the head cheerleader? She's like, he just makes me laugh. I love you, Brophy.
Hey, guys. Brophy? What the hell, man?
How about this? Death in this forsaken place could come in countless forms. Charles Brophy had endured the savage splendor of this terrain for years, yet nothing could prepare him for a fate as barbarous and unnatural as the one about to befall him. Are you excited to read a book set in Minnesota in February?
Yeah, right.
So Brophy is a geologist, and a helicopter lands on him. He's got a dog sled. The guys get out and are like, into the chopper. They literally say, get yourself and your dogs into the chopper. Yes. And then they take off at gunpoint. They take off. They push the dog sled out, and it sort of Stallone and cliffhangers him out of the chopper, and the dogs like yelp one more time. So we're pretty sure that these are good guys.
Yes,
who are doing this.
By the way, the dogs, I believe they came out like sausages hastily thrown into a pan. That's from our last book. When a train fell off a bridge. Couldn't help making that comparison.
Yeah, exactly. It was probably hanging off there and very sensitive.
Yes.
And then I think they then tossed Brophy out the window as well into a chasm.
It seems like they could have just shot him or whatever.
That's
But I don't know.
exactly what I thought,
Seems
too.
sort of extravagant to, like, get in the chopper. Like, oh, boy, okay, it's warmer up here. It was pretty cold. Hey! Ah!
He lands on the pillowy cushion of his dogs. I don't. One listener wrote in and reminded me, because, again, we got probably 35,000 words and 31 chapters into this book. I'm unclear what this had to do with anything or if this is going to pay off, because this guy's never mentioned again.
He's not mentioned by name. I think they obliquely mention him towards the end of this read.
Oh, okay.
We'll see.
I missed it, yeah. But yeah, it seems like they could have shot him. But then we skip ahead to the Tulos restaurant on Capitol Hill, which boasts, this is the first sentence of the book, really. Tulos restaurant, adjacent to Capitol Hill, boasts a politically incorrect menu of baby veal and horse carpaccio, making it an ironic hotspot for the quintessential Washingtonian power breakfast.
Horse carpaccio.
I just see you're not a Washington, D.C. insider like myself, Mike. You grow up in this region. My friends would come over from people you'd meet at summer camp. They'd come back. My mom would prepare horse carpaccio for breakfast. They'd be like, "What is this?"
Let's see. I will have the low-fat yogurt. Is that French? Yes, it's quite sour, madam. I hope I'm acquainted with it. You don't need to explain it. And the blueberries are fresh. Yes, they are. And the kiwi, of course, I'll have that. And the horse carpaccio. Of course, madam.
I feel like we've probably brought this up on the podcast before, which is crazy. But have you ever eaten horse? I have.
I have.
Nice. All right.
It's fine.
Team horse. Yeah, it was fine.
I liked it. Yes.
My thing, which I'm sure I've told it before, but the waitress came by and said, "How are you liking the horse?" And one person had neglected to eat the horse because she was put off by it, and I'm like, she didn't want it. I offered her the horse, and she said nay. And the waitress, it was in Quebec, and I don't think there could have been a language thing, but she did not appreciate that joke. Her reaction was quite similar to your lack of reaction as I made the nay joke.
I thought you were going to say something like she would eat it, except she could see the marks where the jockey was hitting it. She would have gotten the same reaction, of course, but still.
Well, the typical Tulos restaurant customer is a DC, who was the guy, Tip O'Neill kind of gin blossomed guy. So heads turn when this customer walks in. The woman was attractive in her mid-30s, wearing gray pleated flannel pants, conservative flats, and an ivory Laura Ashley blouse. Her posture was straight, chin raised ever so slightly, not arrogant, just strong. The woman's hair was light brown and fashioned in Washington's most popular style, the anchor woman, a lush feathering curled at the shoulders, long enough to be sexy, but short enough to remind you she was probably smarter than you. So we've got, again, a detailed description of a hot woman, and this woman is Rachel Sexton. And her father that she's meeting is Senator Sedgwick Sexton. Who
not a Lucas name, an actual name used in a book that you are supposed to take seriously. And he, by the way, that's his middle name. He uses it because of the alliteration.
Yeah, he became a senator and started going by Sedgwick. So,
by the way, when the woman enters the Toulouse, which I once worked with a guy in theater who used to stand around trying to think of things to say, like Toulouse, he would go, what does the tailor say to the French painter? I don't know, Dan, what? Too tight, too loose?
Good God.
Those kind of jokes. And then he would spring them on you, and you'd go like, please stop. What did the bartender say to the famous physicist? Einstein?
Good
That kind of
God.
stuff. And it's theater, you can't get away. Like, I have to be here. So it kept going on. Anyway.
Jokes that are sort of crossword puzzle clues.
Yeah,
that
jokes
you roll
that
your eyes
make
at.
you go like, that's worse than like a pun. I also had a guy who would pun around me. Anyway, another diner sees her walking through and says, nice body. One diner whispered. It's always better when you whisper it to the person across. Nice body.
He's he's giving her the Lisa looks hot tonight. That one guy has that one line in the room.
Oh, that's right.
That conversation continues. Sexton already found himself a new wife. That's his daughter, you idiot, another replied. The man chuckled. Knowing Sexton, he'd probably screw her anyway. So here we go.
Wow.
Dan Brown is in the house.
Knowing him. Yeah.
It says that the woman had the senator's penetrating eyes and refined carriage. I love a woman with a good refined carriage. That's an important aspect.
People who are in relationships compliment the other in your relationship by complimenting their carriage.
Yes.
It goes over as well as calling your wife handsome, I think is a good.
And so she sits down with her father, the senator, and says she is working for the senator is running for president essentially. Yes. He is the presumed other party nominee. And she works in the National Reconnaissance Office and sort of reports to the current president, who he will then be running against. And so he's sort of being like, come and work for me. And she's like, no, I can't do that, blah, blah, blah.
Yes. And she, by the way, she nibbles. Oh, Rachel groaned and took a croissant from the basket on the table. That seemed off to me. Seems the obvious choice would be to grab a forkful of horse carpaccio, but hey, again, I'm not a DC insider, so.
Oh, you ate all the horse croissants already, Dad? Like, well, I can't get enough. Senator Sexton Sedgwick, are you thinking simple country lawyer voice, foghorn leghorn? Maybe I thought sort of Kevin Spacey and doing his House of Cards accent.
Yes, that's well, Spacey was just doing Foghorn Leghorn, right?
I guess so.
So you kind of meld Spacey with Foghorn Leghorn, and you got. I'm sure he said, "I'm just a simple country guy." You know, I'm sure he said that a few times as he shakes hands. How are your sons, Tom and Tad? I'm sure he's that kind of a guy.
Suspenders. And they have a reporter come and talk to them, but the main part is they are just establishing that she sort of works for the opposition, and she and her dad don't have a good relationship, and he says that you're 34, almost an old maid, which she says, oh yeah, by the time you were 34, you'd already married mom and screwed their neighbor, so he's not with the mom anymore, and he's had affairs in his past. So.
I'm still holding out hope he's the good guy, but I don't know. We'll see.
And they sort of depart after a reporter talks to them, and she goes off being like, "You watch your back, Senator."
And then I believe, when does he quote, when he's sitting alone with her, he quotes, "I believe the children are our future."
Oh, yes, correct. Yeah.
Can I run quickly through my beef with that song?
Yes, please.
Okay, first of all, our future? You just don't write that in a RR. Try to say "our" and "our" in the verse of a song. You can't do it. Right?
I'm not going to be able to do it. I can't pronounce.
Well, neither can Whitney Houston. No one can do it. I believe the children are our future. It's terrible. Anyway, that song bugged me so much that I looked it up, and I just was like, "What kind of dumbass wrote this song? Like, what is this? Did Neil Diamond do it or something?" And it turns out it was like a team of really people who've written every song you've ever known. Like, this great songwriting team got together. It just irritates the hell out of me. Rarely, what do I care who wrote the song? But I looked it up because I was so irritated.
Wow.
Who writes, "I believe the children are our future"? First of all, it's the dumbest sentiment on the planet. And secondly, you don't put R and R next to each other. All right, I'm done.
Open mic night might be in the future. Time to take it down. Yeah. That he says that to a reporter as they're sort of bringing up what they're trying to do, and they're setting up that he's a proponent of more school funding. So we'll get more into that later because we get a lot of attention towards.
He's surging in the polls because of his stance on that.
Yes. Then it cuts to the three people that are the people that abducted dog sled guy Brophy in the prologue. They're Delta Force agents, and they only have code names: Delta 1, Delta 2, and Delta 3. I like this because it reminded me of Ennaby, Darkness, Dementia, Ravenclaw Ways poetry. The leader was codenamed Delta 1. He was muscular and lithe, with eyes as desolate as the topography on which he was stationed.
Oh, dear.
Eyes get a lot of attention here. Senator Cedric Sexton had his eyes could well with tears on cue.
Yes.
And then an instant later, they would clear, opening a window to an impassioned soul. So we're going to be tracking eyes throughout the book.
There's a lot of eye stuff. Once you pointed it out, I was all over it. There's lots of eyes. I just thought about so codename Delta 1, right? So the other guy's like, whoa, cool, we get code names? All right, I'm determined. I'm Delta 2. Okay, all right. I'm the killer of all. No, oh, okay, Delta 3. All right, got it.
Delta 4 still holding out hope. Big dog.
No. El Pollo Loco? Not even that. No.
And they are working with tiny little nanobot surveillance devices, which we get more to later. But this is one of those. They start interspersing these Delta chapters, and they're about, I don't know, 200 words. So that's how Dan Brown builds the chapter count here.
So that one's over quickly, and then chapter 3 goes back to the really hot, great body Rachel Sexton. It's hard to believe that he just... I mean, that had to be a slug name, right? I've never done it because I can't move on until I solve things, but sometimes you just put, like, Joe Rogan, like, you're obviously going to fix that. Of course I'm going to do a search and replace. I'm not going to call her Rachel Sexton.
Yeah. Bangable hot chick was still steaming as she drove her white Integra. Yeah. I like this because this is a little local references for me. It's where I grew up was outside of here, but it says she drove her white Integra up Leesburg Highway. I live in Leesburg, but this is one of those things where if you live someplace, and obviously Dan Brown, I mean, not obviously, but he probably didn't live here when he wrote this because he uses terms that no one would ever use as a local. Leesburg Highway, I mean, I don't want to nitpick it, but no one would ever, there is no Leesburg Highway. There's a Leesburg Pike, there's a Lee Highway, and you would call what he's describing as Route 7 if you were a local. But she also mentions the bare maples of the Falls Church foothills. And I went to elementary school and middle school in Falls Church. I never noticed the foothills that were in the suburbs. It was a pretty flat area. It was kind of funny.
Interesting. That's like when your GPS will do the thing. We just had to deal with one yesterday, and it's like take a left on County Road 43. And you're like, what? And then it's like, take the left here. You do it. You're like, you mean Lake Street?
Yeah.
It's not labeled like that. No one calls it that. It's so confusing.
Yeah.
Like, shouldn't AI be able to figure out what people call it and what it is and what it's labeled as?
I think that's just the danger you run into with anything where you're writing about something where you haven't actually lived it. You just are sort of looking up things online, and you get that.
She gets called in to her job at the NRO, which, speaking of Raven, dementia, darkness, whatever, her note is report stat, which means report to the. So apparently the NRO doesn't have enough character length to write out commands to her. So
yeah, I did like that it is 2000, so probably written at the end of the 90s. So we're going to get some nice upload, people being questioning, like, the internet was a thing that had been developed by ARPA. So it's right on the verge of everyone having access to the high-speed internet. So the technology is going to be pretty funny.
Donald J. Sobel was probably reading this book and going, yeah, I'm not going to put any of this in my next.
In my next 8 books I write post 2000.
Oh, gas cans and quarters for me, babe.
Here's another thing that sort of stacks up as we go. So we'll be tracking this. The 2 armed Marines flanking the bulletproof revolving doors stared straight ahead as Rachel passed between them. She felt the same sensation she always felt as she pushed through these doors, that she was entering the belly of a sleeping giant. And so Rachel is going to be, as we'll see, tends to be awestruck by any given thing she is doing or experiencing.
Didn't that happen in our last Dan Brown? Was that a thing?
Oh, probably.
I think she was always like astonished at everything.
But this is her being astonished at the place that she works. You know, it's Connor walked into the Rift Rack's office, and the sight of the shuffleboard table always left his jaw on the floor and a string of drool hanging down onto the. It's like, all right, at some point in time, you've got to, even if you play at Yankee Stadium, you've got to be like the mystique's going to wear off after some point in time.
I forgot what I was going to say. Sorry.
But it then says she was entering the shadow world, a world where the problems thundered in like freight trains and the solutions were meted out with barely a whisper. And that is how I felt when I used to have to go up to remember when they would work on the bathrooms at our office for like a week, and we'd have to go to the second floor, and I'd be like,
I certainly do remember that.
I'd go to the second floor. I've entered the shadow world.
I remembered what I was going to say. It's like us in movies. We always are perturbed by someone has driven like a long way to get to the new plot point, so you don't see the drive. I mean, I hope you don't see the drive. Sometimes we do, but most times you don't. And the person gets out of the car and goes, now the person we're about to meet is John, and he holds the key to the whole thing. And you're like, you didn't talk about this on the way over. You just listened to podcasts.
Yeah, that happens a lot. And hang on. Whitney Houston, Children Are Our Futures in the car. No one can talk while this song is playing in my car. That's my one rule.
Our future. I love that.
We have an assassination we're about to plan. We should really discuss.
Not until we exit the car. 3 hours from now. Please. So she visits the site of, I like the name of it. I'm sure you noted this as well, too. The Global Naval Recon Network, known as Classic Wizard. Which, first of all, Klein, I'm sure, was like,
of course,
I'll be the judge of whether. But secondly, it does sound like a knockoff D&D thing, right?
Yes.
Hey guys, I wasn't able D&D. I couldn't get the books too expensive, and so I just got this. I think it's pretty much the same. It's called Classic Wizard. Like, oh, brophy, damn it.
Yeah. No. The guy at the dispensary said this strain is great. It's called Classic Wizard. Like, oh God, Brophy, that's bottom shelf swag weed. Come on. Well, and what does she do at Classic Wizard? She's a gunter. No, she's a. Speaking of Klein, yeah, she's a classic gunter. She's a gister. Gisting, or data reduction, required analyzing complex reports and distilling their essence or gist into concise single-page briefs.
So she's TLDRing things for people.
Yeah.
Okay.
She helps the NRO's premier gisting post. It seems like something that the guy who provided the epigraph, Bill Clinton, would have been interesting. Come on, get me that new premier gister on the line there. I got some gisting of my own to do in here.
Oh man, yeah. So she gists at Classic Wizard. That's what she does.
Well, then her boss, as the gister, is the NRO director, William Pickering, and it bears out once again. Is he going to be 12 out of 10, or is he going to be the bridge troll? Director William Pickering, to call him a plain man was an overstatement. He was diminutive with pale skin, a forgettable face, a bald head, and hazel eyes, which, despite having gazed upon the country's deepest secrets, appeared as two shallow pools.
So there's those eyes again.
Yeah.
What? I was trying to picture what exactly that means. Two shallow pools? I mean, it's not helping me. I don't mean to nitpick, but doesn't it? Like, look, he's just kind of a plain looking dude. But to pick on his eyes as two shallow pools, you'd have to be like, hang on, what are we? Yeah, I don't see it. You know, you'd say to the person next to you, you said his eyes were like two shallow pools. I don't see that. I'm sorry, man.
I guess it's just supposed to mean that it doesn't belie any deep knowledge or something. I don't know.
I know what it's supposed to mean. I just don't think it's very good. Anyway,
it does sound like an advice from a fiction writing 101 teacher being like, describing a character's eyes is a good way to expand your word count in this book. But he does it for every single person.
I only had to ask about it because his description did seem kind of mean. But does he have a nice body? Because he might, It doesn't say anything about that. Forgettable face, bald head, and hazel eyes. So
8-pack abs, which he's constantly pulling up to show himself. Well, it continues though, and this is just forcing something that does not need to be forced here. The man's quiet diligence, combined with his wardrobe of plain black suits, had earned him the nickname the Quaker. You've really got to work something better on here, man. You got to get yourself a T-bone vanity plate or something.
Right. You don't, when someone calls you that, you don't like take it. You're like, look, I want to stomp this out right away, guys. I'm not the Quaker. We were just talking about him yesterday. Wasn't Nixon, was he a Quaker? He grew up as either a Quaker or I think it was, who's the one that, sorry to reduce it to this. Who's the people who make the furniture?
That's the Amish, right? Yeah.
No, the Amish do as well. I mean, lots of people make
Mennonite?
Furniture. Yeah. I don't know.
Mennonite. It does seem like Nixon was a Quaker, and he not the last time we'll be mentioning him. He comes up later.
Yes.
When Rachel arrived in the director's office, he was on the phone. Rachel was always surprised by the sight of him. So she really needs to latch onto some object permanence. It would worry me if that was the person doing my gisting, and she was just constantly surprised by the sight of me.
So she's doing the like double takes around everything, like two guys guarding the place she goes to every day. She's like, I'm in awe of this. Like, what? Hello, it's Tuesday. Like, oh, right, okay.
Yeah, they just put pizzeria combos in the snack machine. My God. Sonic challenge for the Quaker's first line for you.
Oh, where is he? Okay.
Pickering hung up and waved her in. Agent Sexton, have a seat. His voice had a lucid rawness to it.
Okay.
Agent Sexton had a seat with a lucid rawness to that line. Those are two words that usually go together, and I know what both of them mean in relation to what a voice sounds like.
Well, an actor immediately came to mind. Okay, here we go. Agent Sexton, have a seat.
So lucid rawness means Will Arnett.
I was going Clint Eastwood.
Okay.
I would fail that challenge of do an impression of someone with only one word and make everyone understand. I've never been able to do that.
How about I could do that? No, I can't. I was about to attempt a Pee Wee Herman impression, but that's not something I'm not able to do. The other thing about him is that it says that his nickname, the Quaker, has a second source. It says he's telling her that, like, the president, he needs her to go talk to the president. Mm-hmm. She suspects that the president is trying to play her against her father. But it says his words rumbled a bit, reminding Rachel of the other reason Pickering was called the Quaker. Despite being a small man, William Pickering could cause political earthquakes if he were crossed. You can't make up an incredibly stupid nickname for a guy and then claim that there are two reasons that he's called that are like wildly at odds with each other. One is because he dresses in plain black clothing, and the other one is because he might be able to cause political earthquakes if he wanted to.
So I guess the one guy who calls him Quaker meets the other guy who calls him Quaker for a different reason in the hall. I'm like, look at that Quaker. I know, right? Because he causes earthquakes. What did you just say? No. He's wearing a black suit and he's really meek and...
And then the third guy comes in, and he caught William Pickering eating oatmeal on the first day of the office, and he never did it again, but he calls him Quaker every day since that because of it. Hey, you check out Quaker? Remember that time he ate oatmeal? God.
Hey, Wilford Brimley. We're calling him Quaker. We're not calling him Wilford Brimley.
Why? Well, he had a mustache. Remember he tried to grow a mustache for a week? You called him Wilford Brimley and it was unrelated to the oatmeal? All right, we got sidebar. The NRO needs to sort this out.
Everyone get over here.
Not you, Quaker. Quaker because of the quaking, right? No.
Everyone gather around Classic Wizard. Come on.
Classic Wizard is mentioned twice in the book, so it was good that he established that. The next one is like much, much later, so I'm glad that they brought that out.
So he sends her off to see the president, and here's a line: "One of the fastest choppers ever made. This is it Pave or Pave Hawk? I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm not a chopper.
Pave Hawk is how it's written. Yeah,
Pave Hawk was emblazoned with a White House insignia." So the president, he only sent one of the fastest, not the fastest choppers to her. Kind of just letting you know, like, it's just a meeting. Don't get too excited. If I really wanted you here, I'd send the fastest chopper we have.
Yeah. I sent one of my hottest legged assistants to pick you up. It's not the other. I like the idea of her getting in the chopper and being like, "Hey, is this husky fur on the ground here? What's going on here? You didn't vacuum this up after your last?" And it says that this chopper would never reach the White House, and that's how the chapters end dramatically.
There's a pair of glasses that say Dr. Brophy on the side of them in the chopper.
Classic Brophy. He's always losing his sunglasses. The next chapter goes into more nanobot stuff.
Yes.
Which he invokes by talking about the classic 80s movie Fantastic Voyage. So I believe that was probably brought up in a Klein book, I'm sure.
They have, here's a quote, "Fly on the wall technology, they call it." And then carriage return, literally. Now, they literally call it that, or it is literally a fly, like with wearing a little. Again, Dan Brown just trying to be clear here.
Yeah.
What are you trying to say? Literally? First of all, don't ever use literally, and especially don't on a carriage return. Literally.
Yeah, it's its own word on its own line.
Oh God.
It says that they're real. They can fly, they can swim, and they can recharge just by going to a boombox and hovering in the magnetic field of the woofer or something on it. So they are sort of these almost perpetual motion machines, and their spying potential is untapped. So that's what the Delta guys are working with.
So they're all just hanging out there. I mean, I guess occasionally they have to go kill a guy and drag his dog sled up and throw it into a ravine, but mostly they're just like hanging out and running a robotic fly.
Yeah, Huey, Dewey, and Louie are hovered over a little joystick control like a robot fly, and they're spying on some scientists who have just made a world-changing discovery, it sounds like.
So they hover the fly over these people in this lab that's, I don't know how many clicks away they say it is. And
wow, nice. You're already in Dan Brown speak.
Thank you. Yes, I am. In your lifetime, did you ever think you would witness anything like this? Never, the scientist replied, beaming. It's all a magnificent dream. Delta One had heard enough. He had? It seems like they were just getting to the good stuff.
Like, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah.
Ah, great discovery. You're about
unified
to say it.
Theory. Yeah.
Switch it off. Click. No, thank you.
It was the late 90s, so maybe they had just discovered that Alestra stuff to make potato chips be fat-free. That could have been what they were discovering.
Yes. Which actually, I believe, had on the package, anal leakage may cause anal leakage. Well, hard to overcome that on a package of food.
Yeah, so they maneuvered the spy away from them as they've heard them done that. So it could have been them discovering pepperoni pizza combos in the vending machine or something. Like, let alone whatever they're hinting at they have discovered. But Delta One's heard enough.
Yes, and by the way, just tracking it now, this greatest discovery ever. By the way, chapter 6. So
okay,
nothing about what it is yet. Nothing at all. Let's just note every time we cross a chapter.
I started putting down my predictions in my notes and just being like, over under for how many more chapters they're going to do this. I know I talk about it a lot on this podcast, but it's the way that Lost would work, where it would just be like, what we're doing down here is important, Jack. It's so important that the fate of the world hinges on it. Well, can you tell me? Or can you just talk like a normal person and just not draw this out for 30 more episodes before you reveal this? Because any given person would grab you by the collar and be like, just tell me what the hell you're talking about.
That would be like if I called you and just said, I've discovered a new way to write. It requires no effort whatsoever, and it gets everything done. And you'd be like, fascinating. I've never seen anything like it. You'd be like, what is it? Just what is it?
Yeah. But that will have to wait, Connor. I'll have to tell you that this evening. Like, what?
Fair enough. I'll just grab the chopper and throw a few dogs in a gorge, and I'll see you later.
Yeah, I was planning on doing that anyway. So the chopper's taking her to Wallops Island, which is has always struck me as a funny name. But every now and then you'll see a rocket launch or something that you can see up by me that comes from Wallops.
I thought that was a joke as well that I didn't get. I mean, I assumed it was real, but it's like, what is that? What is that?
Yeah, I don't know if it's named after a guy. Who knows? It could be some sort of Native American thing. But yeah, I hadn't heard about it till I moved back here. So it's not I'm not trying to be a local here. That was something I learned about within the past 2 years.
There's a prominent road that is to the southwest. It's not near me, but it's pretty prominent, and it's called Johnny Cake Ridge Road.
Okay.
And it's like, look, if I was in Nashville, I'd maybe, old Granny Pike, like, okay. But Johnny Cake Ridge Road, like there's a mall on it, come on.
Yeah, you always think about that when someone just gets assigned a really terrible road name and you have to give it your information to like the Xfinity guy on the phone, and like do I have to spell that out? Is Johnny Cake one word? God damn it. So she is landed at Wallops, and she realizes she's going to have to get onto Air Force One. So the president is essentially telling her to get on my plane.
Oh, boy. Speaking of Harrison Ford and Harris Tweed.
Yeah, there you go. He sort of just landed out here trying to land him.
Here's a line that I pulled out of Chapter 6. I don't have many notes for it, even though it's kind of long. High above the cabin door stood open like a tiny puncture wound on the side of a gargantuan silver whale. Just X through that and just like, hey man, we love you, Dan, but try again, okay, buddy? Thanks.
He's describing the door on an airplane, right? Something
that
everyone has seen and gone through. You're getting in a plane.
Even an airplane that size, yeah, we know it's big. Most of us have been on or seen big airplanes because we've been to airports before, so we don't always take them, but I don't know. A tiny puncture wound on a gargantuan silver whale?
Hopefully puncturing that whale didn't make it explode like that one in Oregon in the 70s that rained down on the news crew that was there to report about it. I like this Dan Brownism because he does this and he sort of says something that makes it sound like it's a big conspiracy or a secret when it's really just a fact that, of course, people don't know. He says, few Americans knew there was actually 2 Air Force Ones in service, a pair of identical specially considered 747-200Bs, one with a tail number 28,000 and the other 29,000. It's like, yeah, few people do that. It's not because it's like top secret. It's just like, who cares? No, it's like the Jerry Maguire kid is telling you facts all of a sudden.
To me, that's one of those facts that is like, it gets passed around and people go, hey, did you know? Did you know that Mike Nesmith of the Monkey, his mom invented liquid paper? And you're like, I knew that and I didn't really care.
Right. But yeah, it works every way. Like, few Americans knew that Jay Buhner hit 44 home runs in 1996. Like, yeah, okay. Like, does that mean that there's a conspiracy around it, or just not many people knew that because it doesn't really affect anyone's life? God. And then it goes on to say, and a lot of people wrote in about this, that the crew had a female English cabinet member had once accused President Nixon, there he is again, of waving his manhood in her face when he asked her to join him aboard Air Force One. Later, the crew jokingly nicknamed the plane Big Dick. It sounded more like a LBJ move to me, but
it certainly would be more, yeah. Like him.
And then Rachel got out of the chopper and glanced at the steep gangway at the bulging hull into the flying phallus. Again, it's a plane. We've been in planes. That says more about you if that's what you're thinking as you get into are doing this, Rachel. But I guess she is just gobsmacked a lot.
Missed opportunity for the pilot, by the way, when Rachel got out of the chopper.
Yeah.
Get out of the chopper!
Yeah, they could have said that to the dogs. Run out of the rubber! And then they go in. She gets into Air Force One, which sounds like the way it's appointed would be a great place to have port and walnuts. But then
totally.
She meets the president, and we'll have to wait for him till the next chapter because it ends just as she meets him.
Yeah, it's like one of those, back turned. She's doing something, she's like loosing something, spilling something, and
pulling a book off a shelf.
Hello, Miss Sexton. That kind of thing. And then chapter 7.
Chapter 7, here we go. This is the one that I first was like full Dan Brown. I was making the Vince McMahon meme throughout this, where it sort of starts where he's like, and his reactions escalate to just doing like the just for pure Dan Brown writing. That's what this was for me.
We finally get we get descriptions in the Dan Brown way. He loves Washington, he thought, admiring his assistant's perfect shape beneath her cashmere sweater. Power is the greatest aphrodisiac of all, ellipses. And it brings women like this to D.C. in droves. That he'd lean back, the ends of his mustache were 7 inches out of his face, and he just went,
I'm a good guy. It did. It started off by introducing the woman he's discussing as Gabrielle Ash, his 24-year-old personal assistant. And I swear to you, my first thought was going to be, how hot is this woman going to be? And it keeps going after you said that. Gabrielle was a New York Ivy Leaguer with dreams of being a senator herself one day. She'll make it too, Sexton thought. She was incredible looking and smart as a whip. And then the meme continues to escalate. Gabrielle Ash was black, but her tawny coloring was more of a deep cinnamon or mahogany, the kind of comfortable in-between that Sexton knew bleeding heart whites, in quotes, could endorse without feeling they were giving away the farm. The meme continues to escalate. Sexton described Gabrielle to his cronies as Halle Berry's looks with Hillary Clinton's brains and ambition. So he's doing the Harrison Ford thing again. He's like, get her. Yeah, that's who we want in the role. Get Halle Berry. I read both of those to Lauren over coffee this morning, and she almost left the table. She loathes Dan Brown.
I quoted that to Bridget while driving to the Twins game last night, and she was like, she knew she couldn't get out of the car, but it was clear she would have.
And here we go. So so he's described her thusly, but obviously he's a much older man. She's in his employ. There is clearly nothing untoward happening in this situation. With a slow-moving patience mastered over decades, Sexton worked his magic, building up Gabrielle's trust, carefully stripping away her inhibitions, exhibiting tantalizing control, and finally seducing her right there in his office. Sexton had little doubt the encounter had been one of the most sexually gratifying experiences of the young woman's life, and yet in the light of day, Gabrielle clearly regretted the indiscretion.
That particular line, I was like, if I had read to you lines from Penthouse Forum and said, pick the one that was in a Dan Brown book, you'd be like, I can't do it. I don't know.
And be like, I don't know, Mike. Dan Brown would have pointed out that she has pouty lips. Gabrielle's pouty lips were still moving, is the next line.
Oh, the shorter one had firmer breasts, like Dan.
Yeah. This had never happened to me, thought Senator Sedgwick Sexton.
Oh, just wretched. And also, I did note she has described Gabrielle as being mahogany colored.
Mm-hmm.
Second book in a row describing someone's skin as mahogany.
Wow.
So,
all right,
let's keep that trend going.
Yeah, things start to stack up. Interesting. Well, no word on her fingers yet, but we
coming.
have to get one of those.
You
We
know
have
it's
to.
coming.
Senator Sedgwick gets some beliefs out that has words in it that I don't want to train AI on my voice for, so we can skip over that.
Yes.
But it does add to his mustache twirling. And then it says it sort of builds up that he is running against the current president, and the president sort of hasn't been seen lately. He's been sequestered, and that's why Sedgwick's able to be surging in the polls.
And Gabrielle, at one point, this might be a spare line. If you have something before it, let me know. Gabrielle gazed at him over her scholarly glasses.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, what would that look? Oh, right, Halle Berry with glasses.
Right. So if Halle Berry was playing a sexy librarian, that's what Gabrielle looked like.
Got it. Okay.
And it says that it gets into this main thing, which is you read it, and I assume that, in passing, sure, this is maybe a conversation that we're having. This turns out to be a major, major plot point. Like everything yes. hinges on this. NASA is costing Americans a fortune, Gabrielle wrote. Voters have no idea. They should be horrified. I think you should make NASA a political issue. So she tells him to attack NASA for wasting taxpayer money, and this has somehow skyrocketed Senator Sexton up in the polls.
Surging in the polls. People loving this.
It like gives us examples where he's like on a C-SPAN call-in show, and he's like, we got to go after those fat cats at NASA. And callers start calling in being like, $15 billion a year? Are you telling me my son's math class is overcrowded because NASA is spending $15 billion a year taking picture of space dust? So Dan, he puts forth that this is something that like the average American voter would care about for more than 0.8 seconds before launching back into, the type of nonsense that like, wait, gas is now $3.50 a gallon, like going back into any given thing like that in an election year.
I mean, at a certain point, I did feel like Jesse Ventura kind of stuff here. Like,
right, yes.
What are we doing spending money on NASA? You know that NASA has spent over $15 billion. Do you know how many snowmobile licenses I could give away for that?
Yes, it really is that sort of one-issue populism thing that you think of more about like a Lyndon LaRouche kind of thing, where some clown who's 7 people down on the ballot is like, oh yeah, that's the guy that like wants his whole mission is revoking the tax credit that Georgia issues for filmmaking or something. Like, how is this guy even on the ballot? But yeah, they really make it seem like it is it calls it the holy grail of campaigning, a new hot button, yet untapped controversial issue that struck a nerve with voters.
Hey, you gotta find something and ride it, I guess, if you're flagging in the polls. You polled at 0%, sir. Okay, what do we hate? NASA. Yeah. I don't know. It's worth a try.
Right. Something that's, benign. Most people probably still have a positive association with it. Don't really know what it does, but every now and then a rocket launches. And yeah, so he's just been raking it over the coals is his entire thing. And it has made, it says, overnight, the issue of his racist and sexist voting record disappear overnight by attacking NASA. So that's the power of a fictional one-issue campaign. Write that in there.
Also, it's a voting record, so it's on record. So he's like pulling the lever for. Would you like to enslave? Yes, I would.
Yes, it's the drill tweet. He's at the big dial that says racism, and he's looking back at the audience like The Price is Right, being like, yeah, I don't know, sir. You did vote yes on the Racist Act of 1996, but
I guess I did.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, I believe I'm still holding out hope that he's a good guy, but
there's a chance. There's a chance. Yeah. There's also he also believes that Gabrielle is trading. He's on the record thinking that she's trading sexual favors for insider information. That's just something he assumes that she's doing because I guess she's a hot young woman.
Is that part of his voting record? Probably is. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
By the way, this is a term I hadn't heard. I'm assuming it's a real thing. Sexton's campaign managers cringed. This was back when he was coming up with the NASA thing. The space patriots were circling for the kill. Space patriots? And how are they circling for the kill? Which, by the way, never happened. So I don't know where they were circling or what they were doing, but they were like dropping their monocles, in their martinis. He just attacked NASA, and then a guy calls in and was like, "I like when he attacks NASA," and they were like, yes. "Whoa, I think you've hit on something. I thought your space patriots had been circling." $15 billion. Are like, yeah, we spent that on the one of the fastest helicopters that was going to take you to the thing. That's how much that costs now. So yeah, actually putting a rear rotor on that cost $14 billion. So
it's a charmingly pre 9/11. I feel like some of this stuff would just be absolutely laughable a year later if he was putting it out there as being like the political issues motivating a presidential campaign.
Yes.
So it's it's the most absurd thing about this book probably so far.
Yes.
Maybe until the next chapter where we meet, he puts forth that the American public elected somebody named Zachary Herney to the highest offer in the land. Because that is, it's NASA becoming a hot button issue is one thing, but I feel like everyone would just sort of be like, not going to happen.
And I assume he's a handsome, super fit guy.
Yeah, he's a president.
Well, let me see. I'll just read and let you know. He had a freckled face, bifocals. So he didn't get the progressive line so you can see his bifocals. It's not that much of an upcharge, man. Just get him. And thinning black hair. Okay, but I didn't hear anything about his body. I assume he's ripped AF. His unimposing physique, however, stood in stark contrast to the almost princely love the man commanded from those who knew him. Oh, this is what got me. It was said that if you met Zach Herney once, you would walk the ends of the earth for him. I've heard that about the Philly fanatic, too. Just like, meet him once. Like, oh, man, that guy.
I mean, and he's got an imposing physique, I guess. That belly,
he does.
He could bumps an umpire with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that continues the trend, though. There's nobody who's like, yeah, I don't know, wouldn't kick him out of bed.
He's okay.
How about his eyes, though? They mirrored sincerity and dignity at all times.
Wow.
So
they never shut off.
Yeah,
all times.
I guess he's sort of building him up to be a Jimmy Carter kind of thing. Like maybe he's in over his head, but he's a sincere and dignified man who's just not the alpha in the room. I guess.
I guess so. I don't know.
I guess there's no reason to question his motives here. You're either a hottie or a naughty.
So they have an exchange, which I don't know if you have any notes about it, but it's just sort of like. I don't know, like moonlighting from the 80s kind of back and forth. Like, who do you think you are? Well, who do I think you are? That's what's important here, that kind of like jargon.
Yeah.
And then it says that the president's openness and good humor were quickly evaporating any tension Rachel felt about being there. And I had to look back and I was like, where was the humor? Openness, I guess. He was talking to her. They're both human beings in a space together, so I guess. But I guess what he was trying to convey was openness and good humor.
Yeah.
I did not take that away from it myself, but whatever.
Yeah, something that gets a laugh out loud from him is her saying, actually, I'm baffled. It's not every day from someone from the NRO is invited above Air Force One by a president in hiking boots. The president laughed again. So he won't be there. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. The flying phallus does have it is leaking gas from the nitrous tanks we have on board. So
we really need to evacuate right now.
How about this for a good author would not do this to you? The desk was mounded with papers, and behind it hung an imposing oil painting of a classic three-masted schooner under full sail, trying to outrun a raging storm. It seemed a perfect metaphor for Zach Hurdy's presidency at the moment. Ho, ho, ho. You thought he was just going to mention it and then not tell you what it was all about, but that is not Dan Brown, baby. Gives you a metaphor and then explains it right in the next sentence. Even if it's ham-fisted, he's got to tell you what it means.
Three-masted schooner. What could I compare that to? Oh, I don't have to. It's done for me.
So that was their meeting, just full of laughs and yucks.
And the best
metaphors.
coffee she ever tasted.
I noted that too.
Wow.
I thought it was 2001, so the bar was pretty low. Like, where were you getting coffee other than Starbucks in 2001?
Yeah, was that second wave coffee? Coffee people, aren't we on third wave coffee now?
Oh, dear.
One of the most loathsome terms I've ever heard.
When was it when they started providing you with tasting notes that always included toasted marshmallow for some reason that you absolutely could not taste in the coffee? Because that was like 2008 for me, I feel like, was when I saw that.
I think by that time they had already done the, when cigars were all the rage, and Cigar Aficionado magazine would have Schwarzenegger on the cover and stuff.
Yeah.
And it would be like, this one has notes of tobacco.
I
Seems
would hope
like an
so.
easy guess. Yes. I hope it has more than one note of tobacco.
Well, what are these classic wizards going to come up with next?
So that's chapter 8 is all I have.
Chapter 9 gets some more like backstory about the senator. It talks about his wife has died suddenly in a car crash back in the day, but Gabrielle was still with him then. And then it has more about embarrassment about their one-night stand. She can't believe she spent that one night with him in her office. Mm-hmm. And then it talks about the political act of a drudge.
Yes. Which I assume is from the Drudge Report, which I don't think is up anymore, but I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm sure someone has it.
I think that was still around by then, because I think that was a big Clinton adversary.
No, it was around then, but I'm saying now. I don't think it is. Okay, but I don't know. I could be wrong. It's probably up somewhere.
He's probably on Dancing with the Stars or something.
Yes. But it's lowercase, but then they explain what a drudge is.
Yes. Gabrielle had learned the hard way. A drudge was the political equivalent of leaking information that your rival used a penis enlarger or subscribed to Stud Muffin magazine. So,
my note was, is there such a magazine? I just haven't heard of it. If it's, I'll put my VPN on and I'll look for that later.
Sure. Yeah, I can tell you that it is, but only because they had a terrific interview with Gore Vidal in their last issue. It was just,
The subscription list got leaked to the internet? Oh, must be a different Michael J. Nelson.
Yes, I've started baking muffins. I was confused. If that was the political scandals, if any of those had ever come out as a political scandal, the greatest moment in American politics. Just having to watch talking heads talk about it, type of thing. I don't know. Again, a quaint era.
It really is. Yes.
And then the drudge, though, was the current president. What was his name? Nerdy Q Dweeb Face?
Zachary W. Nerd Ass or something like that.
He had leaked the news about the Sexton banging Gabrielle, his aide, and then the president, Sexton, got up there and said, "I did not have sexual relations with that woman," to the camera, and said it would dishonor my wife's memory, type of thing. So she had witnessed him do that. So that's, again, more testament to this guy's character.
He could still turn it. He could still turn it around. Yes, he could lie. What was it? He could lie. If he could lie so easily in front of people like that, what was he lying to me, kind of a thing. So.
Right. And then back to Air Force One in the next chapter. The president says, "I'm going to give you way beyond your security clearance." Rachel felt the walls of Air Force One closing in around her. Just really don't think she's up for this type of thing. She's still like picking her jaw up. After she tastes the coffee, she was sort of like
she's still enthusing about it. No, seriously, like, is it pour over or is it from a vacuum brewer? Like, how did you? I've given you Umbra clearance here.
Yeah. Have you ever done that? Like mentioned that to a relative or something? Just like that, oh, this coffee's really good. And then like 4 years later, they're still buying it and like commenting to you, being like, oh, I bought some of that coffee you really like. I'm like, I just mentioned that once. I don't need to hear about it all the time. Please. I beg of you. I mentioned it in passing.
There's I think I could say this because it's not really a slam. There's a fellow we both know that we have in common. You'll know when I say it. That I once said that I don't like to put cases on my phone because I like my phone to just be like, they made the phone, like, I don't know, if it breaks, I'll get another one. I don't care. So I don't usually drop my phone. It's not a thing, so whatever. 7 years later, I dropped my phone and cracked the screen. And this individual said, I thought you said you didn't drop your phone.
Oh, man.
I mean, I guess when you say I don't drop, it doesn't mean it's out of the realm of in all universes throughout, in perpetuity throughout the universe.
It is the first thing you want to hear when you've just given yourself a bill for $500.
Yeah,
though.
like,
It's like
son of
someone
a...
being like, I thought you didn't do that, huh?
Strangle.
But the thing the president is revealing to her is that NASA's made a new discovery. And Rachel's like, huh? These days, a NASA discovery usually meant realizing they'd grossly under-budgeted some new project. So I was envisioning just a NASA employee going to a beach house and being like, Da Vinci Code guy wrote a book, sitting down with it on the beach, reading some light thing, and just getting raked over the coals by this book, which is just anti-NASA screed.
What did I do, man?
Yeah. And so he's saying that, like, oh yeah, NASA's struggling. She's like, yeah, I thought I heard you approved another $3 million in emergency funding to keep them solvent. It's like, yeah, $3 million. That is, Shohei Ohtani gets paid that per at bat these days. It's a very funny thing to.
Yes.
And they talk about some other NASA satellite project, blah blah blah. They talk about a NASA rocket that had blown up, and then he gets into hyping up this discovery they've made with the sort of Lostian parceling out of how big it's going to be. This discovery, the president said, is, shall we say, nothing short of astounding in its ramifications.
It is earth-shattering, validated every dollar Americans have ever spent in space, yes. Yeah. Rachel could not imagine. The president stood up. Let's take a walk, shall we? And chapter end.
And chapter ends.
Without knowing what the most significant.
It's like when your parent texts you and says, "Hey, do you have time to talk for a second?" And you're like, "Oh my God!" Every minute after that is just full of dread. What has happened? Like, oh my God! The president does that to her for just like a dozen chapters at this point in time.
Yeah, getting the text from people. Hey, call me when you have a second.
Yes.
Without it's nothing at all.
Right, exactly.
My God, my brother is finally dead, isn't he? Hey, when you made those muffins, like, gosh, John, you got to put that on the end of the text.
Yeah. I just wanted to tell you that I got another bottle of that syrup you recommended a while back. It was the syrup I had in my house, and I gave it to you. Come on. Well, it fortunately goes right back to them the next chapter. It just, did a dun-dun-dun ending and then went back to it.
Yes.
And Rachel is imagining, like, the discovery he's talking about, it could only be contact with extraterrestrial life, is what she thinks. And then it goes on to say this. As an intelligence analyst, Rachel constantly fielded questions from friends who wanted to know about alleged government cover-up of alien contact. She was consistently appalled by the theories her educated friends bought into. Crashed alien saucers, extraterrestrial corpses kept on ice, even unsuspecting civilians being abducted and surgically probed. Her friends are constantly bringing these up to her.
Constantly bringing this up. And her educated friends, in quotes.
Yeah.
I assume she actually means they're educated. I don't think she's being sarcastic.
Right.
So these are people like they're, sipping the best wine you've ever tasted.
Yeah, that pairs well with their horse carpaccio.
Yeah, eating horse carpaccio and going, darling, I understand that you have a job with the NRO. Tell me, Have I been probed up the you-know-what by you-know-who? You're not seriously asking that. Oh, I am, darling.
Yeah, just as serious as I was when I brought it up last Tuesday.
Oops, I dropped my phone.
I thought you said you didn't do that. Yeah, so that's just a little glimpse into her social life, I guess. Maybe that's why she doesn't date much. But then the guy goes on, the president goes on to say, when the NASA administrator first told me about this discovery, I flat out rejected it as absurd. I accused him of masterminding the most transparent political sham in history. Okay, great. And what would that be? The magnitude of this find is well beyond anything NASA has ever announced. It will make landing men on the moon seem insignificant. Will you just tell us what you're about to tell us?
I have that exact note at this. President Herney put a reassuring hand on her shoulder and nodded toward the door. I assure you, Rachel, you will not regret assisting me in this matter. Would you just tell me? What are we talking about?
Tonight at 8 p.m., I will be calling a press conference at the White House to announce this discovery to the world. Rachel felt frustrated. Herney had essentially told her nothing. Thank you. Thank you very much. And then he says, hey, you need patience. This discovery is something you need to see for yourself. It's like, you could prepare me for it before I go there. Why did you bring me here? So he takes her cell phone and is like, you need to be off the grid from now on. This is too important.
Yeah, that whole, not telling someone, it really sets up a difficult writing challenge to then meet the... Right? Like Lost. Lost just kicked the can down. I was convinced that they would not get renewed for a second season.
Sure, yes.
Whew, we don't have to explain that crap.
Yeah, well, we had run out of polar bear budget. That is not something we were going to be able to keep going.
Isn't it somewhat reminiscent of your now controversial story of your friend telling you it had a bootleg of
yes,
the band?
The Wu-Tang tapes.
Wu-Tang tapes.
Yeah, he had the Wu-Tang movies where all the samples came from.
The movies.
And every day would just find a new way of being like, oh, I forgot him again. So it'd be like, you got to call me tomorrow night. And then he would somehow forget him. And then it ends with us walking out to his car where they were in his trunk and finally getting there and being like, I don't have him, man. I made it up. I made the whole thing up. But he did. He drew it out as long as he possibly could. Which is what they're trying to do here. But yeah, that's exactly what Lost did. Just like, I'm afraid I can't tell you that, Jack. To tell you that would thrust the fate of the universe into... Yes. Will you tell me why the fate of the universe hinges on these numbers?
It is literally the most important and shocking thing. If I showed it to you, you wouldn't believe me. Your hair would blanch white and it would never turn back to its normal color.
Just try me. I'm stuck on an island. What do I have to lose?
Oh, okay. I've got it right here. I'll show it to you, but again...
I'll just peer... Your shoulder's in the way. Can I peer over your shoulder?
You probably won't speak ever again if I show you this discovery, which literally the foundations of the universe will be up. All right, look, I don't have it, man. I'm sorry.
All I have to do is enter my password and all will be revealed. Now, was it 9817 or 9819?
It was our address. Honey, what was our address when we were in
Are you sure you want to tell him that address? Because his hair might blanch white. If you tell him that might happen, if you do that, it's not worth it.
It started with a 4, right? Were we living there when I've opened the account?
No, that was when we lived on Van Buren Avenue.
I'm in the shower. She's in the shower, so we'll have to wait for the greatest discovery that you've ever...
And then Sawyer comes in. Well, if that ain't a briefcase full of hen's eggs. Sugar.
You're not wearing a shirt again. I don't own a shirt, lady.
Yes, yeah. I was wearing a shirt when the guy revealed those numbers to me, and it blanched it off my body. Well, speaking of absurd Lostian things, why don't we move on to her getting in a fighter jet with a stone-jawed buck in a NASA flight suit.
Yeah.
His body was fit and muscle-bound, his chest bedecked with patches. And I'm sure that, of course, this guy has a name befitting such a jacked stud with a chiseled jaw. And,
I'm sure his name is like Rip Cord or something like that.
Yeah, fit muscles. Jack, Bone.
Jack Sledgehammer.
I'm Jack Sledgehammer, commander and fighter pilot.
Not so much. Commander Wayne Lusigian?
Wayne Lusigian?
Lusigian?
Wayne Loosigian. So if Brophy was your frat pledge, Lusigian is the guy from the that the nerd fraternity is recruiting in to go up against them at the homecoming carnival.
Wayne
Loogie. Hey Loogie, get over here.
Loogie. No, seriously, guys, they said we could come to this party. They said it because they were in front of these. I don't think that's an actual invite, Loogie. No, seriously, we're all invited.
Yeah. Oh man.
When even Brophy is barring you from coming into the door. I don't think so, man.
So he's the fighter pilot that's going to fit her into the F-14 Tomcat split tail, which is the most streamlined aircraft Rachel has ever seen. And I mean, I know we often talk about it. I'm like, I just flew to the West Coast. It was the fourth most streamlined aircraft I've ever been in. You're like, oh wow, that was good. That makes a lot of sense because we both are mentally tracking our streamlined aircraft rankings. So
that you've ever seen.
Sure, yes.
And I was just happy to know because remember he had sent the or one of the fastest helicopters.
Oh, right.
Now at least he's going to take her on the most streamlined that she'd ever seen. It might not be because she doesn't put it in the chamber, right? The smoke chamber and do the aerodynamics. Right. So it's only what she's assuming.
She's sizing it up.
Yeah, it looks pretty streamlined. And, Loogie's like, actually, no, this thing's like flying a brick wall, man. It's, I know it tapers off nicely. It looks streamlined, but God, it drags to the left. I'm constantly having to adjust for drag. It's awful.
Yeah, if she just said that, and then he responds like your IT guy. Wow, this is the most streamlined aircraft I've ever seen. Yeah, a lot of civilians think that. That's actually.
Yeah. Would you like me to install the fastest streamlined?
The actual fastest streamlined thing? Because.
No, you know what? You couldn't handle it, and neither could your rig.
She sits in her seat and says, NASA obviously has no fat-ass pilot, she said. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's well documented how physically demanding becoming a top rate military fighter pilot is. Like, what are you talking about?
And then I'm skipping ahead with notes because that's what we said we were going to do, but we'll see if you have more. She was supposed to be at a desk writing gists. Now she was straddling a testosterone-fueled torpedo and breathing through an oxygen mask.
I mean, nice 1-2 punch.
I don't think she actually thinks it's fueled by testosterone.
Yeah.
So there are plenty of female pilots. I happen to be related to one, but whatever.
But it's streamlined, Mike. It's streamlined.
It's the most streamlined she's ever seen.
Oh. So they take off. They're headed for the North Pole, essentially. They're headed north, he says, at 1,500 miles per hour.
I believe they just put, they have a tractor beam they just put on Santa. And I think that's what she's going to, yes.
Yeah. And it cuts back to Senator Sedgwick Sexton. He might be a good guy, but he's currently, at the moment, he's saying, although he disliked the menial filth of public taxis, Senator Sedgwick Sexton had learned to endure the occasional demeaning moment along his road to glory. And I know we've joked about that many times, but my note there was I'm unclear about whether he's a good guy. So.
This is like the Godfather going to in that when the senator from Nevada who's going to give him the gambling license, they kills a hooker or whatever, and this is what this senator has to do occasionally. He's got to go, step into a whorehouse,
befoul himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this guy's like, you have to meet some of the people. It's unpleasant, but some benefactors are going to come to your house. That's essentially what this chapter is, right?
Yes, exactly. Some shadowy cabal who is giving him campaign money, and in return, they only ask for a favor or two.
Yes. And that favor, Gabrielle.
Oh man, if it got into like, yeah, her at the end of Requiem for a Dream essentially is how this is planning out. Dan Brown just being, that was another thing. Lauren was like, how old is this guy writing about these 24-year-olds with mahogany skin who look like sexy librarian Halle Berry? It's just unseemly at some point in time.
It's very gross.
The next chapter starts with a Wikipedia description of the White House.
Not many people knew that the White House. No,
yeah, but it's like it was only 170 feet in length, 85 feet in depth. Like, yeah, I guess not many people know that because who cares? Like, the human head weighs 13 pounds. Thank you, anyway, kid.
Yes. The largest organ in the body is the skin. All right.
It keeps describing the president's going to set up an all hands on deck meeting in the Oval Office, so that's why they sort of talk about how small it is. But it gives you some details about how disorienting the Oval Office can be to people, and then just like Rachel's friends frequently bringing up yokels getting probed, it says often. After a meeting in the Oval Office, a visiting dignitary would stand up, shake hands with the president, and march straight into a storage closet. Often?
Often?
Wouldn't the president consider being like, oh my God, I've humiliated the prime minister of Japan. I've got to really make sure this doesn't happen. This could be like, I've got to have someone stop him before they get to the storage closet. Like,
yeah. How often did he have Inspector Clouseau and Mr. Bean in his office? And no one stops them.
And then the only other detail it says, here we go. Few outsiders knew that during times of peace, the eagle on the Oval Office carpet faced left toward the olive branch. But in times of war, the eagle mysteriously faced right towards the arrows. The mechanism behind this little parlor trick was the source of quiet speculation among White House staff because it was traditionally known only by the president and the head of housekeeping. The truth behind the enigmatic eagle, a storage room in the basement contained the second oval carpet, and housekeeping simply swapped the carpets in the dead of night. So not really the Da Vinci Code in terms of the deep secrets we're revealing here, Dan Brown.
What a secret. What was your favorite name for the Oval Office, nickname of all of them? The Lou, Dick's Den, the Clinton bedroom.
Pow!
Herney's favorite was the Lobster Trap. I don't know. Mine is probably the Lou, but
I mean,
it probably
Dick's
came
Den,
from Adams or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's good. Good alliteration. If we're getting with Senator Sexton Sedgwick, we might as well stick with that.
The Lobster Trap.
Yeah, I'll meet you on the Lobster Trap. That's what I call my man cave.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chapter 15?
Chapter 15 starts, it just describes the Delta Force, who are the guys. This is the first real description we get of what those three guys, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, have been doing this whole time. It says they're the sole fighting squad whose actions are granted complete presidential immunity from the law. That's a good... What could go wrong?
Little Mission Impossible action there.
Yeah, the A-Team.
Disavow all knowledge of your actions.
And I think it just sort of goes on to do some Tom Clancy stuff about them. My favorite sentence was this one. It was, using a microbot equipped with a hairline titanium needle containing a potent vasoconstrictor. I'm going to stop you right there. We need to settle the hell down in the middle of that sentence.
My favorite sentence from it was, more recently, another microbot stationed inside a prominent senator's office to monitor his personal meetings had captured images of a lurid sexual encounter. The Delta team jokingly referred to that mission as insertion behind enemy lines. I mean, they didn't laugh at it, though, right? Like, jokingly, kind of like, hey, that was a real insertion behind enemy lines. Like, Delta 3... Stop it. Stop it now.
I'm sorry, sir. Yes. The bar for humor is quite low here.
You know I could kill you and get away with it because we're off the grid. You know that, right? Yes, I'm well aware. I'm sorry. I won't say that again. Not even jokingly.
Based on what we see getting laughs later on, I think they might have gotten a whole lot of yucks on that.
That's true.
My God.
Boy. Wait till you get to the comedy.
And they see that Susan is the hot woman from the last book. Rachel is headed up to the forest, and they say, "A new player has entered the arena." An interesting gamble. Someone out there is playing for keeps, and they just say she needs to be watched very closely.
What were you taking some intrigue? Like, is she a double agent, or are they just kind of like just watch everyone?
I think that they're watching the whole thing, and then they are just thinking like, it says, your orders still stand. Like, you got to go through with this no matter what.
Okay.
So we're not going to get any information about what they're doing until chapters in the hundreds, I'm guessing.
Yes. And there are chapters in the hundreds, people. Just letting you know
that. Rachel is rocketing towards the North Pole, and that provides us an opportunity to get backstory for her, because she sort of gives an Indiana Jones and says, why did it have to be water, as her plane is flying over water. It says she had fallen through ice at a frozen pond when she was 7, and now she has a hydrophobia, a wariness of open water, especially cold water. So just a little backstory for Act 3, I'm guessing.
This is in chapter 16, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she was afraid of water, so she took a cruise. Rachel, honey, her mother had said 2/3 of this planet is covered with water, and sooner or later you've got to learn to deal with it. Is this not the exact plot of the cozy mystery we just did?
Oh, right. The Quilter's Cruise.
Quilter's Cruise. She didn't want to see the open water.
Yeah.
Because they were headed in one direction.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of water. That's why you should go on a cruise.
It's all linked together.
Dan
in
Brown.
The least likely places you'd ever think.
Who are you reading on the side?
Well, if the next Quilting Cozy Mystery has an insertion behind enemy lines, we'll know that it's all a big deal. Then it goes on to say, Mrs. Sexton was a resilient New Englander intent on raising a strong daughter. Just in case you needed a little more backstory for her mom there, that's going to show and not tell. But New Englander, Senator Sexton Sedgwick is a New Englander. That flies in the face of simple country lawyering. I guess you could be a simple New England lawyer, but...
Well, maybe, I guess you could default to that mid-Atlantic accent, eh?
Yes.
It could be that kind of a guy.
I was sort of picturing a jowly comb-over kind of guy, though. I don't know. I guess she's New Englander, but maybe they've bridged the gap or something. A Yankee and a Southerner.
Yeah, that could be. Yes.
And so you get more backstory about her dying. There was a Thanksgiving where Rachel was like, "I can't come home, Mom. I'm snowed in at O'Hare," and she says, "Oh, that's okay. Your father is in his office anyway, and his father's shacked up with some other woman." And then her mom leaves to drive to her sister's with the turkey, spins out on ice, and that's when she dies. So that's why that she's no longer in the picture.
And then the senator can do his, fake sadness in front of the cameras, right?
Yeah.
And milk the death of the woman. I think they say that, yeah.
I
only wish her father told the media that I had been home for her this weekend. This never would have happened in front of the cameras. So
right. Eyes tearful and probably pulling Rachel into the camera frame to get the photo up there. And then as her backstory winds down, they are landing, and you get another Rachel being gobsmacked kind of thing. At first, she thought the moonlight might still be playing tricks on her. She squinted down at the snowfields, unable to comprehend what she was looking at. The lower the plane descended, the clearer the image became. What in the name of God? So it's like, how does she handle walking down the grocery store aisle and seeing how many new Oreo varieties are there? Did she just drop to her knees like Charlton Heston? Like, how did she handle life?
You did it. You finally made double stuff.
Oh, the Oreos have evolved from Peeps. My God, you maniacs.
Putting mustard on a pretzel? You finally did it.
It's like, Rachel, the plane's already landed. We're out. You got to get out of the flight seat.
So I did not quite understand what the machine. So she landed like between these berms of snow
on an ice runway.
I didn't get that. So they're supposed to be hidden runways or something.
Maybe they're hidden. Maybe they made them by like watering down the ice thing. Like
I didn't. The topography, it didn't. I didn't understand it. And then a big machine. Someone in a giant machine came and picked her up, and then it rode up the side of the berm.
a big snowcat, yeah.
But I didn't get, because she said it ran like sideways up the side of it. So I didn't know what I was supposed to be seeing then.
Yeah, I think you're supposed to just picture it's essentially they've gone to the thing. They're in the set of and using lunar type of machinery to get around. I think the going up the side of the thing happens in the 2 chapters from now, though.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of it. Yeah,
that guy gets a lot of
she
laughs.
saw the machine. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
She saw a futuristic insect grinding towards them on a voracious spinning feet.
And I assume she sees that. He just goes, "Oh, huh, interesting." Moving on. Her eyes pop out like Wile E. Coyote when he sees a new type of rocket sled.
Okay, so she lands on the piece of ice between the 2 berms, and then this giant machine comes at her. Okay.
Yes.
And she says, "Where the hell am I?"
Where the hell am I? Where do you think we are? We flew north for 3,000 miles. Cabo is frozen over. My God.
I did not picture Negril, Jamaica to be this cold.
Chapter 17 introduces I assume one of your favorite characters, Marjorie Tench.
This is so good. Marjorie Tench.
Yeah.
Which way is he going to go with her? Did you stop?
I mean, Marjorie. It's no Rachel. It's no. What was the other one's name? Anyway, it's more of an older woman's name. So I wasn't thinking
Marjorie Skank. Marjorie.
Marjorie pinched.
Marjorie Uggo.
Frigid. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Which way will it go? I'll read the physical description of her, and you can decide midway which way it's going. Was a loping skeleton of a creature. Her giant 6-foot frame resembled
gaunt
6 foot frame resembled an erector set construction of joints and limbs. Overhanging her precarious body was a jaundiced face whose skin resembled a sheet of parchment paper punctured by 2 emotionless eyes. Okay, I think I get the... No, you don't. At 51, she looked 70. Oh, shoot, I was picturing like 60. No, go higher. And then it goes into more of her skills, but that's her physical description.
So essentially Nosferatu, I guess? Like,
yes.
The Slender Man. I thought of that old duck guy, the doctor from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Jack Skellington. Yep.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but I'm picturing that. Or one of those, when they do those like hippie puppet parades and they put, someone in a giant suit and then
stilt guy. Yeah. Like one of those creatures that the Krampus that comes and scares the kids before Christmas type of thing.
Yes, Marjorie Tench.
It's like, wow. And you always are like you're trying to think of analogs, and it's like I don't even know who you're going for with this one. It's not like Janet Reno was 6 foot and gaunt. If you're trying to do something topical of the era.
I have a note about that later. Like, what if they turn this into a movie, and then who do they call to play this part? And then you're like,
Bill Skarsgård, I guess.
I've read that book. Great. Who do they want me to play?
I'm a little old to play Rachel Sexton, I guess, but I guess my legs could be up to the challenge.
But I've been told by gentlemen around me that I'm not a bad looker. So who am I playing? You'll be playing Marjorie Tench, son of...
That's one where you have to be like, in Home Alone, they had a boy put on a wig to play Buzz's girlfriend so they wouldn't make a real girl feel bad. You'd have to just get, some skinny dude to play her so it wouldn't insult anybody. Tench was revered in Washington as a goddess in the political arena, the goddess of killing my boner. She had been blessed with all the brains of a supercomputer and the warmth of one, too. So it really is Dawn Rickles just doing calling her up on stage at the roast. then it says typical social graces did not apply to women like Marjorie Tench. If Tench wanted a seat, she could damn well take one. I see you set the staff briefing for 4:00 this afternoon. Her voice was raspy from cigarettes, so she's also a chain smoker too.
In the Oval Office. Just chain smoking away.
Yeah.
Listen, honey. I'm going to do that CNN debate today.
Yeah.
Tench said coughing. So, in case you didn't get the picture.
Anyone who ever laid eyes on Marjorie Tench knew there was a reason she worked behind the scenes. Tench was a frightful-looking woman, not the kind of face a president wanted delivering the White House message. Like, did she fall into an acid vault as a kid? Like, that's how bad could it be?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
and
like,
then,
she, would it be the kind of thing, have you ever met someone with a wine stain, discoloration on their face?
Sure, Artemis in Ready Player One.
Yeah, but like where it covers a large, it takes you a second, and then you're like, okay,
sure,
good.
Yeah.
But Marjorie Tench, apparently, you never get over it. Like,
no.
I'm just getting used to it. You think you are, honey? You ain't seen nothing yet. Oh, don't take your top off. Oh, Marjorie, please, come on.
Please, why is that necessary? And how are you eating a horse carpaccio in my office? I didn't even know they made that to go. That's all I like to eat. I like to eat all the unconventional mammals. Yeah. My breath smells like nutria.
I eat nothing but veal and horse.
Yeah, that's my skincare routine at night. I slap a little veal mask on my eyes. That's the best way to get to look like 70 when you're 51. Marjorie Tench. Wow. So she's going to go on CNN and debate Senator Sexton,
yes.
Even though that's unconventional. But I think that's a good point to maybe do some real or fanfic this week.
Fanfic. Real fanfic. Real fanfic. 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 Real fanfic. Real fanfic.
All right. This is Real or Fanfic, the beloved segment where our beloved jackals try to fool beloved you by submitting their beloved fanfic. So these are the jackals from our Patreon at patreon.com/372 pages, where there's all sorts of stuff going on there you can't get anywhere else. Like every episode's early. You get our bonus podcast where we solve Encyclopedia Brown mysteries, sometimes with exciting guests. Lauren and Bridget have both been guests since the last time we recorded one of these.
We've had top shelf celebrities.
And yeah, the other thing we did there recently, you went out of town, and right before you went out of town, you dissed the song Rocky Raccoon to me. So I went and I ranked all the Beatles songs on the White Album front to back. People took a lot of exception with my commentary.
Give an opinion on the internet, and you are asking for trouble.
What do you think the best and worst song on the White Album is? Just to
well, Wild Honey Pie is the worst, right?
Okay. Oh, sure. Revolution number 9, I said, but Wild Honey Pie was my second.
Oh, well, Revolution
if you count
number
that
9
as a
doesn't
song,
even,
sure.
That was like, wasn't there like a tape recorder sitting in studio and John would like do heroin and then come in and go, number 9?
That would make
George
sense.
Martin would be going like, please stop doing this.
But what's your favorite?
Oh, what are some of the good ones on there?
Blackbird, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, Helter Skelter, Long. I don't know. Some people.
I mean, I guess Blackbird.
Okay. Yeah, not controversial. Although, who knows what people do in the meantime? I don't really have a strong opinion about it. It's not like anyway. You can go over there and listen to that if you want to and mock me and insult me. But let's get into this Real or Fanfic. These are 5 segments that either come from later in Deception Point or are fanfic submitted by our listeners. Here's number 1. She had imagined her email was coming from some enterprising young intern or secretary working in one of the complex's more mundane offices. Apparently not. I'm going into the West Wing. The Secret Serviceman marched her to the very end of a carpeted hallway and stopped at an unmarked door. He knocked. Gabrielle's heart was pounding. It's open, called someone from the inside. The man opened the door and motioned for Gabrielle to enter. Gabrielle stepped in. The shades were down and the room was dim. She could see the faint outline of a person sitting at a desk in the darkness. Ms. Ash? The voice came from behind a cloud of cigarette smoke. Welcome. As Gabrielle's eyes, accustomed to the dark, she began to make out an unsettlingly familiar face, and her muscles went taut with surprise. This is who has been sending me email? Thank you for coming, Marjorie Tench said, her voice cold. Ms. Tench? Ms. Tench? Gabriel stammered, suddenly unable to breathe. Call me Marjorie. The hideous woman stood up, blowing smoke out of her nose like a dragon.
Oh, good Lord. Oh, glad someone picked up on that. But I don't know. I'm gonna say someone pull it out because it's real.
Okay. Number 2. The plethora of NASA movies coming out of Hollywood, Sexton knew, was simply a matter of economics. Following the wildly popular movie Top Gun, a Tom Cruise jet pilot blockbuster that played like a 2-hour advertisement for the U.S. Navy, NASA realized the true potential of Hollywood as a public relations powerhouse. NASA quietly began offering film companies free filming to all of NASA's dramatic facilities. Launch pads, mission control, training facilities. Producers, who were accustomed to paying enormous on-site licensing fees when they filmed anywhere else, jumped at the opportunity to save millions in budget costs by making NASA thrillers on free sets. Of course, Hollywood only got access if NASA approved the scripts. Public brainwashing, a Hispanic grunted. The movies aren't half as bad as the publicity stunts. Sending a senior citizen into space, and now NASA's planning an all-female shuttle crew, all for publicity.
Wait, a Hispanic? What?
That's just the stage direction. A Hispanic grunted. All that second paragraph.
Okay, that's a weird thing to call out. Oh, might be one of the... Oh, do I have to say it's real because of that? Because otherwise that would be too strange a detail. I'm going to say that it's real.
Okay. Number 3. Rolex SA was founded in 1905 by Hans Wilsdorf and his brother-in-law. The company made the kind of watches the rich and powerful craved and, as a private family trust, often operated at a greater level of secrecy than the politicians wearing its timepieces. The Oyster Perpetual Sea Dweller had been the first and only watch to survive a trip to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Rachel had been given one by her father years ago, and had always found it far too bulky for her slender wrist. But now, Michael Toland wore it on the outside of his scuba suit, thanks to the glide lock clasp's ingenious design, and it would accompany him to a far shallower depth. Like a reverse Trojan horse, Rachel suddenly realized, it would take down the man bearing gifts.
What? I mean...
Some text from Rolex website pasted.
That is true about Rolex's thing. I'm not sure that was their first watch, but I could be wrong.
First and only watch to survive a trip to the bottom of the Mariana Trench.
Yes.
Oh.
That might be true. I don't know. I don't own a Rolex, by the way. I'm a watch guy, but I don't own a Rolex. I'm more of a Grand Seiko guy myself. Anyway.
I don't know if that's a humble brag or not.
It is, kind of. People who know watches know Grand Seiko, but it's not as ostentatious as a Rolex. I don't know.
I assumed you didn't own a Rolex because I'm pretty sure I would have seen and heard the... let me just check my Rolex to...
Well, it would be like I was not born in New York, because otherwise that would be the first thing I told you. And if I owned a Rolex, it'd be the first thing you'd see. I don't know. That's a weird... I'm going to say real?
Okay.
I know I don't know what I'm doing here.
I know. The calibration takes a little while. Number 4. Ripping off his bloody clothing, Corky scrambled naked toward the stern. Knowing no sharks could possibly keep pace with the boat, he rinsed himself as best as he could in the powerful blast of the wake. A single droplet of blood. As Corky stood up, fully exposed to the night, he knew there was only one thing left to do. He had learned once that animals marked their territory with urine because uric acid was the most potent-smelling fluid the human body made. More potent than blood, he hoped. Wishing he'd had a few more beers tonight, Corky heaved his injured leg up onto the gunwale, and tried to urinate on the duct tape. Come on, he waited. Nothing like the pressure of having to piss all over yourself with a helicopter chasing you. Finally it came. Corky urinated all over the duct tape, soaking it fully. He used what little was left in his bladder to soak a rag, which he then swathed across his entire body. Very pleasant.
What? What is happening with these?
Corky is a character to be introduced later in the section.
He is in our section, but and man, funny guy. Bulging eyes. That's just so weird. How do you soak a piece of duct tape with urine?
Yeah, and for what purpose could this be happening later in the book?
Did someone pull it out? Am I insane, or is this real as well?
And if you're gonna go for it,
I don't know. I'm gonna say real.
Okay. Number 5. Polar bears, Toland yelled, eat seals. They only attack humans when we invade their space. But this is polar bear country, right? Rachel could never remember which pole had bears and which had penguins. Yeah, Toland shouted back. Polar bears actually give the Arctic its name. Arctos is Greek for bear. Terrific. Rachel gazed nervously into the dark. Antarctica has no polar bears, Toland says, so they call it Anti-Arctos. Thanks, Mike, Rachel yelled. Enough talk of polar bears.
Oh, man. This is tough.
Yeah. It's just because he likes to give you weird stuff. All
right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to say you pulled an all real on me just to try to trip me up.
All right. So, let's go back to the front. Number 1 was Gabrielle has gone to meet the hideous woman in the Oval Office, Marjorie Tench. You said real for that. That is real, submitted by Jackson.
Okay.
Number 2 was the mentioning Top Gun and then a Hispanic grunting about publicity stunts. You said real for that. That is real, submitted by Chris. Just a little Top Gun call out, meanwhile, through here. Yeah. Number 3 was the Rolex background about the Rolex company and its founding. You said real for that. That was found fanfic, submitted by Gunther.
Okay.
Number 4 was Corky peeing on a roll of duct tape. You said real for that. That is real, submitted by Scott, a.k.a. Sir Lord Baron von Vaderham, who submitted this book. So I think he had these ready to go. I look forward to seeing how that fits into what's about to happen to us in this book.
Yeah, indeed.
So yeah,
a piece of duct tape. Try that, everyone.
And then 5 is them yelling about polar bears to each other and the Greek origin of the name of polar bear. You said real for that, and that is real, submitted by
Wow.
Aaron. So I thought about doing all real, but I thought the Rolex one was good enough that it warranted putting in there. So wow, 4 for 5. All right.
That was hard.
I mean, it just the asides are so. I mean, they're like asides on a podcast when something reminds you of something.
Yeah,
you
and
start
it's
talking about
what fascinates him. So that's the watch thing. Like, I don't know. Maybe he's into watches. Isn't
I'm sure he is.
Dirk? No, who's the guy who gave his book assignment to his son?
Cussler,
Clive Cussler. And his son is like Dirk Cussler or something, right?
Nice.
I think there'll be like a chapter on he was wearing his perpetual that day because he knew he'd need to dive down, so it's like a description. Its movement calibrated to be 28.8 hertz, it's like, all right.
All right, well done. Step up your game, everybody. But those were some fun things to look forward to in the upcoming chapters here.
Mm-hmm.
But right now we're at chapter 18, and this is when she gets into that sort of weird lunar rover system that they're in. And it is driven by a guy who really is a chuckle fest. This is his job, but he's got his tour guide banter down as he's driving visitors around on this thing. He's like, "Try that in an SUV. It worked like a charm." Sort of like he's reminding him of the moon gravity, like Jazz was doing all the time in Artemis.
Yeah, he drives up the snow berm. The Milne Glacier, by the way.
Yeah, like
I assume you thought of A.A. Milne immediately.
Yeah.
Yes. I was not aware. I'm assuming it's a real thing.
Yeah.
And then he's yelling about, this is what made me think that the polar bear thing was real. That's a katabatic wind? Get used to it. The permanent offshore gale called the katabatic, Greek for flowing downhill.
Oh, there you go.
I'll take your word for it. I don't know.
I mean, it's always hard to tell if he's introducing something that's then going to push someone off. You know, the bad guy gets pushed up by the katabatic wind, or if it's just he likes dropping this knowledge on you because he found it and wants you to know about it.
I think he's got his own version of Fax King, and he's just like, I need to fill a chapter. I need to get to 130. What am I going to do? Oh, let's talk about katabatic wind for 3 paragraphs.
But then the driver's like, this is the only place on Earth, the driver added, laughing, where hell actually freezes over. And then they see a big dome where all the Habisphere, and he goes, big Eskimos up here, eh? The man joked. Like, how many visitors do you get that you're able to have this patterned down for you? Like the Jungle Cruise guy at Disneyland does that 27 times a day, but he's a funny guy.
And yeah, proof of his funniness right here. We call it a Habisphere. Her question, Habisphere? What is this, like a knock-knock joke? Yeah, get it? Because it's not a whole sphere, it's only a Habisphere.
That would be like, I'm going to walk back to D.C.
Yeah,
I don't care if I starve. It's not worth it to deal with this if everyone is this funny, which everyone apparently is up there.
Just chisel me off the ice later tonight. I can't take this.
The Habisphere looks like a scaled-down Houston Astrodome, so I assume you can hear the faint echo of a trash can being banged inside of it to help NASA cheat on something. And then she's going to meet the head of administrator of NASA, Lawrence Ekstrom.
Yes.
And but all the while, Delta One is looking through infrared binoculars, observing them all.
Yes, and he bites he's more like a tiger rather than a pussycat, Rachel thought, well acquainted with Ekstrom's reputation for biting the heads off those who stood in the way of his dreams. Is that a thing that tigers do? They bite off the heads of people who stand in the way of their dreams?
Are these really his dreams? I mean, his dreams are not to, have seen the Northern Lights or to, dance with his daughter at her wedding or something. His dreams are mineral extraction and the Arctic core. Like, interesting. All right.
So then I think it's 19 just continues with Lawrence Ekstrom, right?
Yeah, this is the one where I was just like, these descriptions are just starting to remind me of Bob Fingerman characters. A giant of a man, ruddy and gruff like an angry Norse god. His prickly blonde hair was cropped military short above a furrowed brow, and his bulbous nose was spidered with veins. His stony eyes drooped with the weight of countless sleepless nights. Bob just did a poster for us for an upcoming Riff Tracks title of like sports movies, and that looks like several of the guys that are on that poster.
Yeah, so I guess this is just Nick Nolte then, I guess. Yeah. Our version of Nick Nolte.
Yes. And what else do we get? He just sort of berates her for a while because her dad has been railing against NASA.
Yes, and her response, Rachel could only stare. I traveled 3,000 miles for this kind of hospitality. This guy was no Martha Stewart. What?
I mean, it was 2000 topical reference.
Well, she's also known for, she's sort of cold is one of her traits, so she's not known for warmth. She just puts out a good spread.
Later that night, they do a little team building karaoke session, and Ekstrom's a terrible singer. This guy was no William Hung.
Oh, he really motivated me, like Susan Powder. Huh?
Yeah, so she's really upset about it. He's really upset about her dad, but he's like, I don't like you and you don't like me, but the president has asked me to brief you fully on our discovery this moment you arrived. Whatever role he wants you to play in this circus is between you and him. That's great. So could you brief me? Could someone finally brief me? It still has not happened, and it's not going to happen for a while.
I forget what happens in this. I don't have a lot of notes on this.
Yeah, he sort of does decide to, like, he gives her a little bit of information. There's a meteorite beneath the ice.
Yes. Yes.
And it's 8 tons, 6 tons, something like that. He's like, the meteorite this size is a very rare find. There are only a few larger in the world. Well, I realize, but the size of the meteor is not what excites us. Rachel glanced up. If you would permit me to finish, Ekstrom said. Like, I just glanced up. What are you... I've been waiting for someone to inform me about this the whole time. I'm certainly not going to cut you off when you finally start giving me details.
So this is a long chapter, and then at the end, she says, "My God, what is this place?" For the love of God, we are on chapter 20, and you haven't even given the barest hint.
Again, that's how she reacted when she walked into her office, the belly of the sleeping giant. So does she walk into the bathroom at a Buc-ee's gas station and do that too? Like, I mean...
Also, at this point, though, what could satisfy what they're talking about? I mean, I guess like a chorus of like a blue whale and an elephant all singing, like putting on the Ritz or something, and you'd be like, that is pretty... Well, I don't understand why, but this is pretty amazing. Like, what could possibly satisfy this? Spoiler alert, the thing that happens doesn't really satisfy this, but that's fine.
Well, it's also the thing that she thought as soon as the guy said we made a discovery. She's like, could it be extraterrestrial life? And that's what it is. So, like, the fact that she continues to be gobsmacked, that was her first thought. So it has to be what she suspects, the whole time. Like, it's like your boyfriend of 5 years asks you to go up to the mountaintop at sundown. Like, ooh, he might propose. And then you're shocked and surprised when he proposes. Like, come on. All right.
Chapter 20 goes to the... CNN interview.
Yes.
Right?
Sexton is going to debate Marjorie Tench.
Yes.
Tench.
And again, here's another physical description of Marjorie. Marjorie Tench was hideous looking. I'd gotten that from context, but at the moment she sat slouched in her chair, smoking a cigarette, her right arm moving in languid rhythm back and forth to her thin lips, like a giant praying mantis feeding.
God. Lord. And has outright called her the ugliest face in politics as well. So, man. Again, if you get cast for that, you're like, so I'm going to be in full prosthetic makeup for this, right? Like a Planet of the Apes type of suit? I better be.
Right. Like the movie Ed with Matt LeBlanc, I'm going to be in a full costume.
And then it says that she's a huge NASA proponent, which, again, it seems like hard for someone as plugged in as her to have really gone on the record a whole lot about NASA. But I guess she's a huge proponent, so he's really looking to sock it to her in this televised debate they're going to be doing. But it also refers to her jaundiced mug.
The pouty mahogany Gabriel Ash, I can't stop thinking about her legs, says, like, don't go overboard with this person. I know how you get excited. Like, look at her ugliness. And like, I assume he's like handsome. Is he like George Clooney now, kind of a thing? Like,
I think we get a George Clooney guy later. So,
okay,
Gray. I don't know what this guy is going for. Like, yeah, I think he's like, like maybe Eric Roberts kind of guy, like. That sort of silver foxy kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, hawking walk-in tubs and stuff.
Yeah,
sure. I have a video challenge for you.
Oh boy!
So I know this doesn't help on the audio, but you'll kind of get the point.
Okay.
For those just listening, but for those watching, it's the end of the chapter. Sexton gave her a suggestive smirk. So am I. So okay. I want suggestive.
Set me up with the line, like you read me Gabrielle's line.
Sure. I'm Gabrielle. I'm pouty. I'm mahogany. Remember, this woman is very good at what she does.
So am I.
Okay. I'm physically ill. All right.
I'm the next president. Chapter 21, they're going into the Habisphere. Rachel, upon entering, feels like she had entered a colossal sanatorium. So that's relatable. That's something we all, I know what that feels like. So
we've all entered one, sure.
Somewhat.
Very popular these days.
Yes, we all know what they are and have entered one. So it's.
She half expected to see voodoo dolls of her father dangling everywhere. Did she really? How stupid is she?
If she had seen them
She
with that
half
electric jaw on the floor.
Yes, like what? His writing is so terrible.
And so they introduce her to, it says, I assume you've heard of Michael Toland. Rachel shrugged, her brain still taking in the incredible surroundings. So she is physically unable to comprehend things as her brain. It's like when we in a movie, when it pans like this and we're like, oh, it takes them forever to look at a room.
Mm-hmm.
She's really hung up on this. And then she meets the guy and says, oh, you're that Michael Toland. And it turns out Michael Toland is like a celebrity science guy. He's rugged good looks and self-effacing charisma that don't hurt his popularity with the female audience. So he is sort of George Clooney, if George Clooney was doing
George Clooney back when this was written, yes.
Yeah, if he was doing the Carl Sagan thing. So she gets said, I'm going to introduce you to Michael Toland. And then it doesn't click, oh, you're that George Clooney. Ha! I didn't think that someone would say, I assume you've heard of George Clooney. And then you get introduced to him. It's like, oh, that George? Like, come on.
I thought you meant the guy who runs the garage down the street. His name, weirdly, is George Clooney.
And upon meeting him, it says, Rachel found herself uncharacteristically tongue-tied. Uncharacteristically? It's been your default state throughout everything you've done so far. And she says, what's a world-famous oceanographer doing on a glacier with a bunch of NASA rocket scientists? And he essentially says, like, oh, I'm up here to be able to communicate these findings to the common man because they trust me and I can do it so well.
Michael Toland, by the way, isn't that I felt like he's stealing a name from...
Michael Poland was a food writer.
Poland, and then there's Greg Toland, the cinematographer. I don't know. It feels like a weird mashup of someone.
Well, they couldn't call him Corge Clooney, so...
So he wonders what she's up there for. Do we meet Corky? Yeah, we do meet Corky then.
Yeah, he sort of teases around. He's like, we'll get to the meteorite. It's best seen, not explained. So they're going to show him that. But then, yeah, Corky Marlinson shows up.
And he's the bug-eyed. Is there a physical description of him? I didn't write it down.
I mean, there definitely are. He's a...
he can't tie his own necktie. I wear clip-ons. Yes.
Squat and rotund, resembling a pug dog with bubble eyes and a thinning comb-over haircut. So another Bob Figurman cartoon. And she's heard of him because he has ideas on gravitational fields that are legendary among NRO satellite engineers. So the George Clooney of nature, she was like sort of gobsmacked by, but she knows Corky Marlinson.
The pug dog with a comb-over. And he says about her... we're at the friggin' North Pole, and you still manage to meet gorgeous women? I knew I should have gone into television.
Okay.
You're ugly.
Yeah, the DAC is stacked against you, especially in a Dan Brown book, man.
Yeah.
And he also says, no relation to that depraved, short-sighted senator, I hope. So, once again, he's heard her name. He's made that connection, and then the guy says, actually, he's her father. And then he's like, oh, no wonder I never have any luck with the ladies. So he is the dorky pledge in the fraternity movie, essentially.
Oh, God. And then chapter 22, I guess we should speed through the last.
Sure.
We got to get to 31. 22 is long.
Yeah. 22, well, it mainly consists of Corky explaining meteorites to her.
Yes.
Which he does in sort of there's a scene in Tommy Boy where Chris Farley tries to sell brake pads by like burning cars on his desk and doing that. So Corky does that, just like, a meteor's crashing to Earth and that's evaporating into the atmosphere.
Yes.
So that's pretty much this chapter.
And Michael Toland is just like, he's doing it again. This is his shtick, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like, can you believe I'm with this guy? Here's the bulging eyes. Corky's eyes were bulging now with excitement. So he should get his thyroid checked for sure. He probably has that issue.
Probably, yes. Well, he has a pug dog, so he probably has trouble breathing, too.
That's true. But it brings me to a Sonic challenge for you.
Oh, boy.
I gave you a video challenge, now a Sonic challenge. Corky started making burning and sizzling sound effects. He started making sound effects. I assume he's not at one of those tables, where they set up all their stuff and then they...
Oh, yeah, old-timey radio?
The old-timey, yeah.
Okay. The air around the meteoroid is becoming incandescent as the surface material melts from the heat. Corky, damn it, stop! Okay, sorry.
Wow, that was your coup de grace.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Rachel's reaction to that whole talk, her mouth fell slack, if you can believe it. She is left slack-jawed at this thing. Essentially, he gives her a definition of meteor and says, so we have found a meteorite here. We can prove it's a meteorite. And then they show her a specimen from this Arctic meteorite that has a fossil of a bug in it.
That is, ladies and gentlemen, what we have been waiting for. The thing that is supposed to leave you going, wow, I didn't think he could do it, but by God, he pulled it off. 22 chapters in, he suddenly says, yeah, well, turn that little son of a bitch over. And she does, and there's like, oh, it's an insect skeleton. Yep.
Yeah, it looks like a...
Oh, that's it? Oh, okay, gotcha. All right.
Like a trilobite or something. It calls it a terrestrial pill bug. It looks a lot like...
Yes.
Sorry. But it has two prominent tail-like appendages, which make it something closer to a louse. So, right. I mean, her jaw is like pretty much down to the level of where the meteorite is by now. It's dropped so far.
Yes.
And just there's the reveal.
Yeah, and then it goes to the CNN debate.
And so that's in a meteorite. So they are saying that it came from elsewhere in the in the galaxy, essentially.
Okay, it just didn't quite, for me. It didn't live up to the fact that it took 22 chapters to get to.
Especially because the epigraph that Bill Clinton said in the beginning, is that an epigraph? That yes. was about a meteorite that landed in the 90s that they thought might have some, traces of microscopic life on it, which turned out not to be true.
Yeah, and then someone else is like, no, that's not.
That's what you knew was the whole thing all along if you bothered to look up what that thing was. We go back to the debate. Marjorie Tench is speaking with her cigarette voice like sandpaper to Senator Sexton, and she's goaded him into talking about NASA. And it was hard to, again, just this is such a naive look at the political process that it was funny to imagine this televised CNN quote debate having any sort of importance or being something that people would take seriously at all, that anyone would be watching in the first place, but they are acting like everything's going to hinge on this moment.
Yeah, and they talked earlier, with the president, who are you going to be sending in your place? I think these things are worked out. I think you're supposed to be debating the person who you're actually running against. I don't think they can just send someone. And also I think when it happens and they see the president's not actually there, okay, I'm going to turn over to Riptide or whatever, I'm certainly not going to watch this. So there's 350 people watching this. Right. And by watching, it means they're also ironing or whatever. So.
So she goads him into talking about it, and his talking point about NASA is usually give the money to the schools. But he's like, if you want to talk about national pride, talk about strong schools, talk about universal health care, talk about smart kids growing up in a country of opportunity. That's national pride. So it sort of buried the lead, and I only looked about it the second time I went through. But Cedric is a universal health care proponent, which it seems doesn't track with everything else they've established.
No, it does
about
not
what
seem
he's
to
doing
fit
here,
with what he's about. But okay,
with his 7-foot mustache and banging his aides. But so just you feel like that would be something that might sink his campaign quicker with his base. But hey, this is Dan Brown's version of politics. This is not reality.
And so it goes on super long, and then what it amounts to, because they're like, what she's don't go with her, like she's a smart cookie, she knows what she's doing. And then all it is like he says, like, oh, they get him to say, oh, for heaven's sakes, Miss Tench, if I'm wrong, I'll eat my hat.
Yeah.
So, like, good old-timey thing there.
Yeah,
but it's like, why should we get rid of NASA? What if they had some secret discovery? Then what would you do? Like, well, that's never going to happen, you know? I'll eat my shoe right in front of you on live TV. Like, oh. And then her cigarette laugh fades into the distance.
Mrs. Tench, I will look at you naked. That's how confident I am about this horrible thing. I will do the...
You don't want to go there, honey. Trust me.
Yeah, you end up like a Lovecraft hero gazing into the eyes of Cthulhu. Madness beyond comprehension. But yeah, she goads him into answering a yes or no question, which is a very funny thing to assume any politician does in any debate. Yes. But he's like, yes, I would transfer NASA's budget to our school system, which is, of all the things to get tricked into saying in a debate, is a pretty benign one. But anyway, we go back to the Arctic. So they introduce a few more characters. We get to meet one. Dr. Wei Li Ming, who is described as an uncharacteristically tall Asian man.
Who?
I think we've read all the other insane Dan Brown descriptions. That's all we get about him. I guess he wears a camel hair coat, but he also carries himself with the pompous rigidity of Renaissance aristocracy. So he enters a room, and that's someone's immediate takeaway. I don't know how is he like thrusting a scepter into the air?
What does that look like? I mean, really, all we have are paintings? So
he's dancing like the Wiz in the Nobody Beats the Wiz. Yeah,
I don't know. How does she know this?
Holding his coat like that, and maybe giving it to someone like.
Was there a bowl of fruit in front of him and like a dog laying at his feet? And
but it was hard not to think about the probably the most famous Asian guy at the time, Yao Ming, who was 7'2" or whatever, uncharacteristically tall. Another tall Ming. Just stuck out to me. They bring her over a X-ray of the meteorite. And Rachel looks at it and immediately has to sit down because there are a dozen more bug fossils in it. And there's even like a lice the size of a bread loaf, like the ma bug of everything. And says that this could be a confirmation of a theory of panspermia.
Panspermia, yes.
Which is, I guess, that...
outer space seeded Earth in some way.
And then that's why... the bugs here look like these bugs because we are the outer space bugs, type of thing.
And here's Corky, by the way. See if you would. Do you like this character or not? Bingo, Corky said, where they percolated and sprang to life. And if that's true, Rachel said, then the underlying ancestry of Earth's life forms and extraterrestrial life forms would be identical. Double bingo. Again, just chisel me off the ice later on. I can't be here anymore. I have to leave.
I'm pretty sure that guy set himself up for double bingo, and I am not a fan of someone doing that. And then it says, it practically proves that life on Earth was seeded from elsewhere in the universe. So people keep making big leaps that everyone accepts in these books as well. And that they think that the populace is going to accept as well. And we can get to that as we come to it. But it's a pretty funny faith in humanity, I would say. It says, it goes on to say right away, like NASA had found irrefutable proof. No skeptical science could possibly step forward and question these fossils. which is just nowadays people are like, if you zoom in on her elbow, I can prove that Sydney Sweeney, who presented at the Emmys, is a body double. So it's like, I think if you are putting forth anything of extraterrestrial life, you might find a couple skeptics out there who are willing to.
Yes. No one disputes the moon landing, right?
Right, sure. And then this, I'm sure you liked this part. Rachel had to laugh when she realized she'd been a childhood fan of a song by David Bowie that referred to spiders from Mars. Few would have guessed how close the androgynous British pop star would come to foreseeing astrobiology's greatest moment. She had to laugh when she realized she'd been a childhood fan of that David Bowie song.
Did she have to laugh? I don't know. By the way, a very funny little peek behind the curtain. I have a little almost 2-year-old granddaughter. It was unbidden, was watching TV, and she calls me Button. It's a whole other story. She's 2. And she looked at the TV. There was a David Bowie video on, and she goes, Button. And my son's like, he starts recording. He's like, who's that? It's like, Button. She's like, who's on the TV? It's Button. Okay.
Which one was it?
I don't know. Wow. I'll send you the video. It's
dancing with Mick Jagger?
No,
wow.
Well, it was just him solo. So we were trying to figure out. He's like, look, man, I can't explain it.
Wow.
That's just what it is. The Thin White Duke and me. Yep, we got a lot in common. Don't know what. I don't know. Maybe he was doing his low voice singing, and I can't have a low voice.
Oh, yeah,
or
it could be
something.
the voice.
I don't know. But she's just like, oh, yeah, that's him. There he is. I'm the androgynous British singer. She did have to laugh.
Yeah, that's true. They meet another member of the party. It was the Mangor, Dr. Mangor.
Dr. Mangor, yeah. She's the, she's like the tough-talking.
The brassy broad.
Brassy broad, but she's also kind of sexy, I guess, if you have to, in a pinch, kind of a woman.
And they also pull the doctor was a woman thing beginning.
Oh.
Because Rachel's like, so what did this guy propose? Gal, Ming corrected.
Yes, and then Gal, Ming corrected, sounding smitten. Dr. Mangor is a woman. Debatable, Corky grumbled. He looked over at Rachel. And by the way, Dr. Mangor is going to hate you. So the doctor is a woman, Gambit, followed by a you're so pretty that this slightly ugly woman's going to hate you for being...
From NASA level,
NASA
top scientists.
You have 3 PhDs, sir.
Yeah, you've just discovered extraterrestrial life, so the scene should be slightly reverent. And then, this hasn't come up again in our reading. It says, Corky's like, I took up a donation they sent to her so she could get some peace and quiet on campus. Are you aware, Ming snapped, that Dr. Mangor almost died down there? She got lost in a storm and lived on seal blubber for 5 weeks before anyone found her. So Dr. Mangor lived in Antarctica off of seal blubber for 5 weeks. Mm-hmm. As far as I can tell, that's not mentioned again, but... but that's just how brassy abroad she is. It keeps going that Senator Sexton is heading to his meeting with the mysterious cabal.
Yes.
Gabriel is suspicious that Tench knows what he's doing, and he's meeting a mysterious big such. So Gabriel's suspicious of what's going on here.
Yes, and she looks at his phone or his
planner,
tablet or planner or something. Gabriel found tonight's page and noticed it was already shaded out in Sexton's handwriting. There it is, with the bold letters P.E. Sexton shorthand for either personal event, private event, or piss off everyone. Nobody was quite sure. I still think we can turn this guy around. I think he's the good guy.
Yes. We just need to find a cat for him to save.
Yes.
Let him make an Independence Day speech and put on a flight suit.
I mean, it could be if you spent 22 chapters, the biggest thing that mankind has ever seen, and then it was, a meteorite.
Yeah.
Maybe turning this guy and doing the What's the opposite of a heel turn in wrestling?
Face turn?
Yeah. You become a face?
Yeah.
A good guy, or
I guess so.
Something simple like that. He could.
Prove us wrong, Senator.
Yes.
It goes back to the Arctic, and we get to meet Dr. Manger, whose introduction is, "If you're checking out my ass, these snow pants add 30 pounds. Corky responds, "It's not your woolly mammoth butt that drives me wild, it's your winning personality." To which she replies, "Bite me." Which also gets a laugh from Corky. So there's the banter level is
all of them doctors.
She has, despite the toughness of her voice, has a pleasant and impish countenance. Her pixie haircut was brown with streaks of gray, and her eyes were keen and sharp, 2 ice crystals. So who was the other guy who had deep pools or something, or shallow pools?
Shallow pools for the president,
the head
of the NRO.
Yeah. So contrast that with her eyes, which are keen and sharp like 2 ice crystals. I don't know. All eyes are fairly similar. It probably says more about the person, whether you like them or not, than what their eyes actually look like.
Yeah, you're reading into stuff here. Yeah.
And they're going to haul up the meteor through the ice by heating it with a laser so that the meteor gets hot, moves up through, and melts the ice as they're lifting it. This is, of course, going to leave behind a big hole, which they have marked with some cones, and call them shabbas, which are short for step here and break ankle. So this might be the first case of Chekhov's shabba that we've ever had in a book. We'll be keeping an eye on that as the chapters go on.
I forgot about the shabbas.
God. And they give some backstory on the meteor. They think that it landed in 1716, and some Canadian explorers were seeing it. The next chapter has a lot more NASA humor.
Chapter 28.
Yes.
Where they raise it. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, this is... I was trying to picture the movie. Is it, given the time, is this after, like, Twister or something? Mm-hmm. Where, you got the bad Twister guys, and then you got the button-down Twister guys, and they're all giving each other the biz.
Yeah.
Right? And there's like, he's got quite a mouth on him, but no one's better at raising meteorites, from that kind of crap, I think.
Right. Yeah. I think it's very much that. And there is just, the NASA comedians are just out in full force. Because as they're raising it, someone yells, "Cervix is dilated, 900 centimeters." A tense laughter broke the silence. So there's always just someone is off screen yelling these funny things. I'm not sure what they're there to do, but... it says dangling.
It's always someone else shouted, Okay. Don't you want credit for this?
We need a job punching up these characters in Dan Brown books. I mean, we could, if you would just make the things the characters yell from off screen actually funny, we could do that.
Yeah. There was last night at the game, someone behind me who, was right behind me, so he didn't want to do the big turn. Like, who's doing this? But it was a kid, and, Aaron Judge, chases a change up, 79 miles an hour, chases it, and the kid goes, "Nice swing, Aaron. You gonna bring that to the golf course?" Kind of unsurely. And everyone's just like, I just want to turn around and go, "Yeah, I can write material for you that's gonna get you." Yeah. There was no laughter. I did appreciate that no one in the segment, everyone was like, "Yeah, you shouldn't be." Shut
the guy who gave that kid a foul ball walks back and takes it back from him. Yeah. You're going to have to do better. They bring it up. They describe it as with the appearance of an enormous petrified prune. I imagined also Sprig there was stuff playing on a kazoo as they make this unimpressive discovery.
They also immediately were like, "Is that Marjorie Tench?" Oh no, it's just a giant shriveled prune.
And then I like this sort of understatement. Looking on, Rachel felt a sudden joy for NASA. They'd had some tough luck in the past. Finally, things were changing. Yeah, what is the tough luck you're talking about? Are you talking about the Challenger explosion there? Is that the tough luck that we're we're talking about here?
That's exactly what I thought. I'm like, you can't be meaning that.
Or Challenger or the other one.
Tough luck.
The teacher wheels the cart back out of the kindergarten classroom who just watched a space shuttle explode. Tough luck, kids. And it even goes on to say the Shabba pylons, although the hole was clearly visible, any curious soul who ventured too close and accidentally slipped in would be in dire jeopardy. So just putting a double lampshade on those. And then she goes on to sort of just talk about like they have this meteor and she's just like overcome with emotion because they've just proven extraterrestrial life. There would be teary-eyed dreamers, slack-jawed scientists, children's imaginations running free. Issues of dollars and cents would fade away as petty, overshadowed by this monumental moment. The president would emerge like a phoenix, transforming himself into a hero, while in the midst of the celebration, the business-like senator would suddenly appear small-minded, a penny-pinching Scrooge with no American sense of adventure. And they're just imagining like a blacked lung West Virginia coal miner being like, I'm happy for you. Like, that's great. But like, they're closing down my mine. I do need health care. Like this is great, but like, can we focus on some stuff that actually is sort of nope. We're all talking about the space bug. Okay.
Would you say, sir, that the president now looks like a phoenix to you? I would not say that. No, I can't go that far.
Right. Yeah. There's a family who has like a hostage internationally. They're just weeping, pledging their fealty to the president because they've unearthed a trilobite from the thing. Like, God, it just, I don't know. Pollyanna-ish. Maybe that's just me being jaded.
Dan Brown does not paint in small strokes. This is it's either A or it's B. You're either ugly or beautiful, and you're going to save the world or you're going to die in shame.
Speaking of beautiful, chapter 29.
Yes.
On the third floor, Gabrielle Ash's long legs paced briskly back and forth in front of her computer terminal. Mm-hmm. Susan Fletcher's legs, Gabrielle Ash's legs. Who's to say which one is more delicious? And she's been receiving mysterious anonymous text from someone within the White House because it's a whitehouse.gov domain. Fortunately, not whitehouse.com, which was a big tricky site they had.
That was tricky, yes.
Back in 2000 when this book was written.
And then she says only one East appointment gate existed in Washington as far as she knew. Outside the White House? Is this some kind of joke? No, it's definitely not a joke. I don't think.
They do have the whitehouse.com email address. You did confirm it.
Yeah, it's no one's laughing. It's not a joke. If you want a joke, you got to go up to that Habosphere. Yeah, that's where the jokes are.
And I got a great line for you when you see the Habosphere. You can cut off the tour guide driver. You can preempt his joke. It says, after all, this person had done nothing to help her for the past 2 weeks. He or she was obviously a friend. Like, you work for the most cutthroat, sinister guy in DC politics, and you're just stumbling naively into this obvious trap. Like, my God, you're hot. You're supposed to be smart in these books.
Also, she's not getting paid, remember?
Sure, right? She's a campaign volunteer.
Yeah, and she worked for him for years, right?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think they said very clearly she does not get paid.
Well, she got paid one night, that's for sure. Most gratifying experience of her life.
Oh, God.
It goes back to the Arctic, where the NASA administrator is thinking something that is always good when a character thinks that it usually pretends nothing bad is about to happen. He's thinking, nothing can stop us now. And
he's tossing out Canadian beers.
Oh, my God. This is where the comedians really come into play.
Yeah, people are yelling from all over, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, boss, someone yelled. Thanks, it's even cold. Ekstrom gave a rare smile. I've been keeping it on ice. Everyone laughed.
Everyone.
Ekstrom gave that guy a 20 for setting him up later.
So it's like when the supreme leader of North Korea makes a joke, like everyone laughed.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, they did, I guess.
Ha 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 ha. He keeps going. This stuff's Canadian. Where's your patriotism? We're on a budget here, folks. Cheapest stuff I could find. More laughter. Then they say we're turning off the lights, or we're switching to media lighting. And no kissing in the dark, someone yelled. This is a family program. Ekstrom chuckled. And then when they turn off the lights, someone yet out a mock scream, "Who pinched my ass?" someone yelled, laughing. So just, again, for these people who are convinced they've made this discovery like probably a transcendent religious experience, and that someone is keeping "Who pinched my ass" in their quiver to try it out for laughs at that point in time.
Yeah, I read that and I was like, yeah, let's defund NASA. I think it's true. We are wasting our money.
I know this is fictional, but yes, in real life, let's make this an issue.
Yes.
I'm putting myself on the line for it. And then that chapter ends with saying, Ekstrom never suspected what calamity lay ahead. So based on the track record of how long the other reveal took, we're getting to that in chapter 80, I think, probably, the calamity.
The calamity was just around the corner now. The calamity could be coming any chapter. You never know where it's coming.
But as long as there's not a calamity, we're going to be yucking it up at the Arctic Circle.
So chapter 31, mercifully brief. This is our final chapter, everyone. We're bringing it home for this reading. This is back to the Deltas.
Yeah, I'd
the
forgotten
Delta
about
boy,
those
the
guys.
Three Stooges, Mo, Larry, and Curly.
Yeah.
Delta 3 came over and looked. He, too, looked stunned. They were able to... I guess they're flying the fly on the wall or whatever.
Yeah, they've got the joystick with the nanobot. And
they're seeing the place that they dug I mean, since they are at the highest levels can't they just go ask them, like, hey, what is this all about? Why do they have to observe? Whatever. They're spying on them. For someone else, I guess, even though I assume
rough Corky up, like, bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
Delta 2, you're supposed to get information out of him. Oh, I just didn't like the look of this guy.
Yeah, this guy.
I find him very annoying.
Look at his eyes. My God, is that the extraction pit? Is the water supposed to be doing that? No, Delta 1 said. It sure as hell isn't. So, any guesses? What is the water doing that is causing Delta 1 to be just absolutely incredulous?
I mean, Delta 1, I'm sure, has been through the most incredible training. He's probably can hold his breath underwater for 8 minutes. He's survived on deer guts and stuff. He's a man's man. He can jump out of a plane with no parachute. But does he have a lot of knowledge about Arctic water, like ice, molecular levels, that sort of thing? It just might not have come up in the training. So I'm not sure he's going to have an instinctive knowledge of what water at this level is supposed to be doing.
So you think it is going to be like one of those Batman shorts where it's like, yeah, he jumped out of the car. We just didn't show it last time. It's going to be like, what is that water doing? I don't know, but it's perfectly normal. Never mind. Sorry, everyone.
Sorry
about that.
We'll put Delta 3 on water observing task from here on out. Delta 1.
Sorry I gave such import with my voice to that. I shouldn't have done that. Maybe it was because we're over those comms that we have, and so it sounds like, oh my God. Like I probably shouldn't talk like that.
I wonder how many my gods are in this. 14. Okay. That's a decent amount. Like, my God. My God. I'm going to describe this to someone in 20 more chapters.
All right. So there we go. That's quite a reading.
It's a heap and help and a Dan Brown, but I mean, he sort of had to establish a lot of characters, whether they're hot or not. So I understand that it took a while to get there.
Yeah. I don't know. I could use less of the CNN debates and a little less Tench this time.
Oh, I want more Tench. I want Tench has got to just find more ways to describe this person. Again, it's like a writing exercise in a fiction class. Just keep finding ways to tell me how ugly she is, like even though it's well established.
It'd be really great if she did, like, somehow this went supernatural and she was like enlarged, and Tench was now 45 feet tall, like tearing buildings apart, eating people whole.
Or I thought it was a different direction. I thought it was going in a she's all that, like, Brophy's got a date. Like, he's taking Tench to the thing? What? And then she comes down the stairs in a red dress. Whoa. Oh my God.
Guys from NASA tilt their sunglasses down. Ooh la la.
Oh. Well, yeah, so we've got some characters who will certainly die, and other stuff to happen. But before that, we got some dumb sentences to cover.
Dumb, 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 dumb sentence of the week.
All right, these are the dumb sentences of the week submitted by our beloved Patreon jackals at patreon.com/372 pages. First one is from Cameron. Hold on, the NASA man shouted, working some levers. Cameron said that. It sounds like something I'd write in 5th grade. The NASA man. Mike submitted, to call the NRO director a plain man was in itself an overstatement. Mike says, in itself is used to say that any context is unnecessary, so simply calling him plain makes him plain. It's infuriating how he writes like a 3rd grader trying to sound like a grown-up. So we've got a 5th grader and 3rd grader in the first two things. Amy and Josh both submitted into the flying phallus. Mm-hmm. Jackson and Henry submitted prize-winning astrophist Corky Marlinson ushered Rachel and Toland into his work area and began sifting through his tools and rock samples. Henry suggested a rewrite. Corky Marlinson, the second best boy astrophist in Idaville, ushered Sally and Encyclopedia into his work area. Jory submitted, when the show was over, with the exception of a few NASA diehards calling in with poignant overtures about man's eternal quest for knowledge, the consensus was in. Sexton's campaign had stumbled onto the holy grail of campaigning, a new hot button, a yet untapped controversial issue that struck a nerve with voters. That was hard to get through without a breath. Justin submitted, with the wave of a hand, Sexton had made a young African-American woman a rising political star, and the issue of his sexist and racist voting record disappeared overnight. Tina submitted, Sexton took the folder, savoring the scent of her perfume, mixed with the plush leather seats. Brian submitted, unfortunately, the EOS project has been wrought with failure. He says, since Dan Brown doesn't understand ordinary words like rot, I call stolen valor when I don't know what, he takes obsession to rot.
Yeah, rot.
I see what's causing your satellite problem. You see the circuit board connector right here? You're supposed to use a soldering iron on that instead of failure. Craig said, poised at the end of the runway, engines throbbing behind her, Rachel felt like a bullet in a gun waiting for someone to pull the trigger. He also goes off on a list of things that Dan Brown gets wrong about the F-14 Tomcat.
Oh, okay.
He says, well, for one, it has never been described as a split tail by anyone other than Dan Brown. We'll take people's word on that. He got the name of a highway wrong in my neck of the woods. So, Patricia and Jacob both submitted. She felt the same sensation she always felt as she pushed through these doors, that she was entering the belly of a sleeping giant. Dan pointed out that she smashed sleeping giant and belly of the beast together. Amanda and Colin both submitted because it's not a whole smear, it's only a hemisphere. Theodore submitted, Pickering, it appeared, was right as usual. And he said 7 words, 3 commas, 0 editors. Ruth submitted, Rachel was stunned. She said, not particularly dumb on its own, but when repeated as many times as it is in this book, it becomes extremely dumb. Doug submitted, Sexton usually defended the sanctified privacy of his apartment like a lion protecting its only remaining hiding place. He said, lions are apex predators. What does a lion even hide from? Does Dan Brown think the cowardly lion from The Wizard of Oz is an accurate depiction of the species? So he got lions off and then tigers biting off heads. Of people
because you stand in the way of their dreams, yes.
Yes. Bradley submitted, I heard, well, that's more than one sentence. Checking out my ass, these snow pants add 30 pounds. Augusta submitted, as an intelligence analyst, Rachel constantly field questioned from friends who wanted to know about the alleged government cover-ups of alien contacts. Does she really only have one friend and his name is Fox Mulder, Augusta wondered. Chris submitted, William Pickering made no bones about his view of politicians as transitory figureheads who passed fleetingly across a chessboard whose real players were men like Pickering himself, seasoned lifers who had been around long enough to understand the game with some perspective. And he broke it down as well. 1 sentence, 42 words, 7 prepositional phrases, who, whose, who, triple mix metaphor, and 0 commas. Andy submitted, she was incredible looking and sharp as a whip. And Andy said, I should probably be able to let this go, but I read it days ago and I'm still annoyed. You can be sharp as a tack or smart as a whip, but not sharp as a whip. A whip is not sharp. Janelle submitted, her gaunt 6-foot frame resembled an erector set construction of joints and limbs. And she said she's a Tim Burton character, Jack Skellington. Todd submitted, her voice had a lucid rawness to it. We heard you do that earlier. Mm-hmm. Bart submitted, Corky, put his fingers over his head like 2 antennae, crossed his eyes, and wagged his tongue like some kind of insect. I'm picturing the Cooties. And remember the old game Cooties? Wow. And he said, man, the only way this book can redeem itself is if this guy ends up with Rachel Sexton in the end. That would be quite a surprise.
Wow, we got a praying mantis for Tench. Lots of insects in this.
Kate submitted, the senator's eyes were his gift, a gift Rachel suspected would probably carry him to the White House. I guess it's not like his the gift of the guy in Samurai Cup.
Yeah,
his black gift. Daniel submitted this one. I didn't even see this one when I read it. Meteorites were admittedly one of the rarest rocks on Earth, but NASA discovered meteorites all the time. That's like a... Mm-hmm. Katie submitted, you don't by any chance mean the famous Corky Marlinson, do you? Mandy and Rachel submitted, Toulouse restaurant adjacent to Capitol Hill boasts a politically incorrect menu of baby veal and horse carpaccio, making it an ironic hotspot for the quintessential Washingtonian power breakfast. Something I did not notice and we did not discuss that Rachel pointed out is that baby veal is, of course, redundant.
Yes.
Scott submitted, ever since that harrowing ordeal, Rachel had battled a persistent case of hydrophobia, a distinct case of wariness of open water, especially cold water. Mike submitted, Rachel followed confused. He said 3 words, and yet they concisely summarized the entire reading. Fallon submitted, on the 3rd floor, Gabriel Ash's long legs paced briskly back and forth in front of her computer terminal. And Fallon said, all by themselves, presumably. I think isn't there a Dr. Seuss story about pants that like escape? Like a pants go running around.
I don't know. I've thought of the wrong trousers, Wallace and Gromit.
Yes, that's what it's like. The sexy wrong trousers.
Yes.
Oh, Wallace and Gromit fan art. That's got to be out there. Nathan submitted, without love, everything else is meaningless. He said, Dan Brown let Johnny from the room write a line from this book. What is Johnny's line? If more people love one another,
we wouldn't need... Yeah, something.
We all get along. Jan submitted, despite having ascended to the most powerful political office in the world, President Zachy Herney was average in height. Curtis submitted, the man possessed an easygoing countenance political cartoonists loved because no matter how skewed a rendition they drew, no one ever mistook the man's effortless warmth and amiable smile. And Curtis said, are political cartoonists really so talented they can capture someone's effortless warmth and amiable smile? I think Herney's freckled face, bifocals, and thinning black hair might be the go-to features for a caricature. Mark submitted, pausing, he leaned toward her in a most unusual way. And he said, did the president lean towards her while wearing a spaghetti strainer? Does Dan Brown explain why it was unusual? He does not. George submitted, the man was a silver-haired, silver-tongued political animal who had been anointed with the slick look of a soap opera doctor, which seemed appropriate considering his talents of impersonation. And he just said, Hello, everybody. This is 372 pages we'll never get back. I am Connor Listoka. This is the Bad Book Club podcast where me and Mike Nelson are going to read through a book with all of you out there. A book we do not expect to like. And Mike, this is what we do not expect to like because we and everyone out there has read books by this guy before. Dan Brown.
Dan Brown, a man who sells his books by the metric ton at Costco. Is that what you reported to me yesterday?
I went to Costco earlier this week. I was unaware that Dan Brown has a book out now. He released a brand new book last week, The Secret of Secrets. And at Costco, they had him by the pallet like they do the tub of cheese balls. And the one that I saw looked like people had come in during the Christmas rush and gotten the, Labubu's off of the truck and just left it torn and picked over. They probably trampled a Costco employee to get to them. There was Secret of Secrets books scattered all over the Costco jeans and the 3-pound tub of peaches and syrup. So
there's a half-empty bottle of that Costco vodka next to the bin. Someone obviously just like, let's get at this.
Yeah, let's read this thing here at the store and pound down this booze while we do it. So I guess he's still raking it in from people who can't get enough. It's the 6th book in the series covering Robert Langdon. And hey, maybe if we were a little more optimized in our business acumen, we might have picked that book, But we didn't. There's Dan at your door right now.
Dan is right here. He's here right now.
He heard you disparaging him and has come to...
He said, hey, we did Secret of Secrets. What should I do next? I don't know, Code of Codes? Thanks. I gotta go.
Yeah, so he is still, I guess, probably going to be on the top of the bestsellers charts for months and months until Coho, who just also announced a new book, comes out with her next one. So I think that's... These two can duke it out for us. But we are reading Deception Point. You said Code of Codes, and I'm like, what is it now? Like, is it...
Secret of something? I don't know.
Yeah, it's Fallback Guy. But this is Dan Brown's... I don't know if it's his 3rd book. I think he wrote Digital Fortress, which is the one that we covered, which is why everyone here knows it. And then he wrote